Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy, insane, wild roller coaster
Hell yeah.
that we like to call Crime and Sports. Hope you enjoyed last week. Floyd Mayweather Jr. It doesn't get any crazier than that, man. That was one of our heavy hitters, obviously, our most famous people. We spread the famous, very famous people in every once in a while. If we did them all at once, they'd be over with.
Also our lightest reader.
He's definitely.
I don't know how you did it. If you sat through interviews with that guy, I don't know how you did it.
Oh, I did. It's not easy.
It is painful.
It's not easy at all. You have to get his words and copy them down. Imagine listening and then having to what did he say there? And then copy the words down as he pauses.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's terrible.
It's rough. So if you enjoy the show and if you want to do something for the show, what you can do is you can give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Mm-hmm. That purple icon, we don't know why that helps.
It's something.
We don't understand why, but for some reason that helps drive you up the charts, which makes people see your show,
right.
And then it helps you. So if you could do that, give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. You can say you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's just for business purposes. Also, of course, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything. All sorts of new merch up. Also, all your small town murder stuff. Get it there. Also, get tickets to your live shows there. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All sorts of small town murder live shows. Just a couple. First 2 are sold out, but February 15th and 16th we're in Indianapolis and in Louisville. Mm-hmm. And then March 13th, 14th we are in San Francisco. Doing 2 late night shows, which is cool. And then Detroit and Cincinnati, and then the rest of them there from there. Get your tickets right now, and we're going to bring some crazy to you. We can guarantee you that. And definitely. Also, if you want to be a bigger hero to the show, head over to patreon.com/crimeinsports and you can make a donation and be one of our heroes. One of the people we're going to gush about at the end of the show, our producers, who are just the best people in the world. And you can also head over to PayPal, use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can make a one-time donation there, and that will make you just as much of a producer and honestly just as much of a close friend that we love to death. So thank you for that, everybody that does that. We have for you today a wild episode. It's a hockey episode.
Oh, good.
So once we get into all the brain damage sports, obviously are going to be the fun ones. And the problem, like Floyd Mayweather, he's in a brain damage sport, but he's been hit like 8 times in his whole career. Right. So his brain damage was minimal. That was him at full capacity, full mental capacity. So that's tough. Today we have a guy who quite possibly, if the whole CTE thing was around at this moment in time, would have definitely probably registered on that scale, I believe, and probably explained a lot of his actions and mixing it up with what he was doing. It's interesting. This is kind of one of the shooting star kind of legends of hockey. That's not legends in terms of one of the greatest players ever, but just like the story of him is
what could have been.
Yeah, it's this weird legend. So let's talk about it. John Kordic. You ever hear of him? John Nicholas Kordic here.
Nicholas.
The Nicholas. Well, him.
John Kordic. Nobody knows that.
We had his poster.
Say John Nicholas.
That's
now
what you say.
I got him.
Well, you used to look at his driver's license, I know. So that's the thing. You're used to seeing his official identification. So March 22nd, 1965 is when he's born. He is a Canadian fella, of course, as you might imagine. He's a hockey player, and he's a good one, so he's probably Canadian. Right. He's born in Edmonton, Alberta. That's that is hockey country right there. That is oil and hockey. That's the two things they care about.
Those 2 words are very specific to a region.
Yes, that's
Edmonton, Alberta. You know exactly where it is.
That's what I mean. It is oil and it is people drinking after they've worked on oil.
Right.
That's pretty much what Edmonton is. And then hoping the hockey game's on tonight.
So cold there, it's shocking the oil doesn't freeze.
That's the fuck it doesn't.
Yeah.
Imagine that all winter. Well,
there goes that job.
8 months out of the year, we don't have that. So that's not going to work. Now, his parents, John's parents, are immigrants. They're from immigrants from Europe, actually. His parents' names are Ivan and Regina, and they're from Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
They came there, they came in the early 60s to Canada from Yugoslavia. So that's, they have they have an upbringing. If you have immigrant parents, or even like if you had to grow up in an immigrant grandparents' house, it's a weird feeling of being different, of like just the normal things you see on TV, like in sitcoms. You're like, well, we don't have meatloaf for dinner. You know what I mean? Like, it's just little things. And even as it goes on further, like,
can't really relate.
No, I felt that way in the 80s as a little kid. You'd watch like sitcoms and everybody is like
sitting around on a couch eating popcorn together, and you're like, what the fuck is that shit?
No one's screaming at each other. There's no, drama. There's no, nobody in a house coat chasing you with a kitchen utensil to hit you with.
Little James's life was not Alf.
It wasn't Alf. It wasn't Family Ties. I'd look at that and I go, wow, look at them all eating breakfast together and stuff. It was just different. So you feel like, even though you're American and nobody knows, but you feel like everyone knows that that's at home. Yeah. And like you ate something weird last night that they wouldn't know what it was and shit.
Your
like,
house smelled funny.
Yeah, you feel different. It's a different feeling, which is, I'm telling you, it is. I feel for people.
And going the opposite way, as somebody that did kind of have that life apart from the beatings, going into friends' houses where they were immigrants or their family were immigrants, that smell in that house, it's a very straight. You're like, what the fuck? Fuck's happening in here?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What do you guys do? And that doesn't smell like child abuse.
What's happening? Well, if it is, it's an ethnic child abuse. It's different. It
smells like your family loves you and they're beating you to guide you.
Yeah.
That's not an abuse for getting aggression out.
No, that was just overreaction to you not fulfilling your potential, mainly. That's an immigrant beating. You could have been better, damn you, and you get beat for that. I didn't fucking come all the way over here, right, so you could be a lazy son of a bitch. It's like the Henry Hill beating in Goodfellas. You turn out to be a bum. You want to be a bum?
That's it.
That's what it is. It's that beating. It's a different type of beating.
My house beating just smelled like Coors Light.
Yeah, it's a different beating. It's a way different beating. I remember me and my cousin, we just wanted to be normal, though. We just wanted we'd be eating weird shit. Why do we have to, what the fuck?
Pasta
now I look
7
back
times
on
a week?
It. Well, no, it was all other weird, because my grandma grew up in
stereotypes.
Yeah, no, but I mean, she grew up in a village in the 30s and 20s
she
in
plucked
Italy.
A chicken.
Plucked. Yeah, they killed fucking
first,
animals.
Right.
I mean, so they would have like weird peasant food that you'd eat, like weird fucking, World War II fascist occupation fucking
bizarre
peasant
foods,
food.
Right.
And you're like, we're like in New York in the 80s with like a super ShopRite right up the street. Right. And we're like, you can go get anything you want.
Absolutely
right there.
Anything.
It's not just whatever's growing or whoever's, rooster wandered away. Right. What's happening? What are we eating?
Slinging a chicken in the front yard. It'll be all right.
It's just pouring polenta on the table. Right on the table. No plate. What the fuck are we doing? I remember me and my cousin were like, what is this? This isn't normal. No other kids have to do this. We just make trails in it with our spoon. Chunks of sausage and shit. And they're like, what is happening? Why are we eating this? So,
you're kind of not.
No, we weren't.
You're just letting it run off the table.
Yeah, we were just moving it around and being like, okay.
We're done now. Enough. Can we go to bed?
Yeah, that's what it was. I'd like to go to bed, please.
I just pushed my Hot Wheels through that.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks like I ate something. It's really just a track of an 86 Corvette. So, his parents, like I said, from Yugoslavia, settled in Edmonton, and his father, in 1972, is when he discovered hockey.
Okay.
He was 9 years old, which is late for a Canadian boy to discover hockey, and mainly because his parents weren't Canadian. Yeah. So there wasn't like a tradition of everybody watches hockey on Saturday there. They have the Saturday night in Canada, hockey night in Canada deal. It's a, big deal.
Sure.
They weren't into that. So they went to see the Canada Cup competition in 1972. And they they were like, oh, look at this hockey, because parents didn't know shit about it. They didn't know hockey existed in Yugoslavia in the 50s. Right. Yeah, they knew nothing of hockey. So John actually says of his father, quote, he liked it. I was 9, so I started late. He just liked what he saw. His dad was like, oh, this isn't bad to watch, and he was like, I want to do this, like that was he just saw it. He saw he liked the game. He thought it was a fast, fun game, and then also he saw there was fighting, and he thought that was fun too.
Hell yeah.
All little boys see that and you go, holy shit, this is great. Like, you can skate around and play, and then if somebody makes you mad, you're allowed to just fight. This is fantastic.
I'm in.
Drag you right that way. They put you in a box for a minute. Who cares?
2 minutes. Cool off.
Great.
Okay.
All right. No problem. Yeah, that took a lot out of me anyway.
I need a rest.
Now, he says, though, quote, I never fought until juniors. I was fat up to grade 4. I didn't know any English. They called me DP for deported person. I always got beat up. I was always scared.
DP means something different today.
Yeah, it's deported
person.
DP.
That's pretty weak. Worse,
yeah. Well, I don't know why. Yeah, DP.
DP hurts.
Well, I mean, he feels different anyway. And then they're all saying you got deported from wherever you came from to here, you fat fuck, and they beat him up. That's a shit way to live. Yeah. Talk about feeling different twice over. Like, he feels that way on the inside, then on the outside, they're making sure that he knows how different he is too. So yeah, he's deported person.
They need that today too, though.
Yeah,
the kids are just fucking. They don't get it. They don't punch each other anymore.
He's talking Slavic now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's in Canada. Slavic is a really bracing language to hear, by the way. Yeah. If you just hear it out of context, someone just starts. Have you ever heard anyone start speaking Slavic?
I've heard, and it's part of Russia, right?
No, well, it was the Eastern Bloc, but it's a totally different language.
It's it's more throat clearing noises.
It almost sounds like a mix between sounds like there's like Spanish and Arabic, almost. If you mix the two of those and put a dab of like a cherry of Russian on top, it's like. I took my grandmother out for pizza about 8 years ago. She wanted to go eat pizza. I took her out, and unbeknownst to me, the family that owned the place was a Slavic family that was running it, because I found that out because out of nowhere, she just starts speaking Slavic. And I'm like, what the fuck language is that? Like, I know Italian, and that ain't Italian. Like, what are you speaking? And then the guy's talking back to her. They're having this conversation, laughing, and I go, the hell was that? Right. And she goes, oh, when I was a girl, there was the Slavic family moved to my village, and
and your grandma just knows it.
I pick it up.
Yeah,
she picked it up in 1935. Hasn't used it since, and just
kept it in her purse.
Came out with it at 84 years old to some people, and we're talking back and forth for 15 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't remember anything. I don't remember the story we did last week, and she's got Slavic from 80 years ago, locked and loaded. Yeah. Locked and loaded. Weird.
She's like a human Rosetta Stone. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's fucking funny, man. And then people, God damn it, that annoys. Sorry. She got a couple years ago, I think I mentioned this before, but 3 years ago, she went to the movies, and some teenager told her to go back to her own country. First of all, if I would have seen that, they would still be trying to find his fucking teeth. And that goes for anybody. If I see anybody yell anything at an old lady, you're going to find your teeth. Don't fuck with old ladies, especially. But to tell my grandmother that, so then she yelled at him and told him she's been here.
Son of a bitch.
I got here in 1947 before your grandparents are born. You son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, there we go. She can handle herself. But I really wish I would have saw that.
You're like, you don't have a wooden spoon.
Oh, she would have fucking thumped him one. Just absolutely. I guess the movie theater guy yelled at the kid too.
Good.
Fucking leave her alone.
It's
She's just 80 fucking in her mid 80s.
But the lack of respect from kids today.
Kids are dicks,
I hate saying that.
No, they're dicks today.
I feel like
you were right about they need to be punched though. And it's we do sound like old men when we say that. But God damn it, a little boy, not little girls. I don't know what goes on in their psyche because I wasn't a little girl. But as a little boy, the threat of being punched in the face needs to be. On you.
It needs to be there.
Because the world is one big punch in the face. Right. And if you're not braced for it, you're going to be fucking surprised when your nose gets bloody. You should be like, oh yeah, I got hit and blood comes out. That's what happens. You wipe it away and you move on.
So the shit I just said, I probably shouldn't say that shit again.
Oh, I shouldn't say it because other people, there's consequences for it. Oh yeah, that's right. And not with your parents. I'm not talking about you should hit your kids. Right. I'm talking about if your kids are both in 5th grade and one kid for no reason says some shit to the other kid, that kid should get punched in the face.
Yeah.
The talker, because or he should have to fight. You
figure out who gets to say what by whose nose is bloodiest.
That's what
happens.
When we were kids,
it's a fucking law.
When we were kids, you got to be as much of an asshole as
your face
as how tough you were. That was, it was a proportionate thing.
That's the law.
You can be this much of a dick because you're not that good of a fighter.
And the majority of people are not great fighters.
And we don't
that's how society goes around and around.
And we don't want might is right and, all that shit. We don't want bullies to run everything. That's not even what we're talking about.
No.
We just want, if some kid has a fucking mouth on him that shouldn't have a mouth on him, some kid should go, hey, shithead, and punch him in the face. It's a lesson that you learn.
Right.
That's all we're saying.
I'm not saying I'm not going to go out as a 38-year-old man and just start knocking out fifth graders.
I mean, I'd love to.
It'd be the best.
Don't get me wrong. Because I think I could take any fifth grader on this planet, number one. Any of them. Just kick them all right in the chest. Pow, pow, pow. I'd just be fucking dominating.
But I would like my kid to have the ability to fight back from time to time when somebody because there's no wit to the things that they say. It's just, you're ugly, or your hair looks stupid, or you're fat, or what. Punch that kid in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, you used to have humor.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to
There's
have
nothing.
humor. No, because now it's just all, because you could just post. Yeah, you could, it's all just fucking tweets almost.
Because that's not bullying, apparently.
Yeah, everything's said in tweets now. Right. So it's like.
Or on an Xbox, where there's no fist within reach.
I mean, I don't even mean it's whatever you want to say is said on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, a tweet is how you talk now.
Yeah, you're right.
In a sentence insult, rather than there's no nuance, there's no humor, there's no anything like that. I don't fucking get it at all. But it was different in Canada in the 1972, I would assume. Mm-hmm. Probably if you called somebody, I don't know, a
DP?
A DP or a big maple syrup eating fat bastard or something. Somebody would punch you in the mouth probably, and then you go, oh boy, I shouldn't say that to him. So deported person is what they called him, and I said he always got beat up, he was always scared. So this is a way different than what we're going to get into later on with him. He says he wanted to be a defenseman. He wanted to be like Bobby Orr. That was his idol, was Bobby Orr of the Bruins there. And he said he really wanted to do that. He's a big kid, but he's a big happy kid. Okay. And he grows up to be 6'2", over 200 pounds.
Jesus.
He's a big, stocky, big strapping young guy. But he's
so much to fucking put skates on.
Yeah, it is, and that's what you want in hockey. Hockey's one of those sports where on the ice, height is leverage.
Sure.
And it's not even a matter of skill. It's just height is leverage. Sure. You can lean on someone if you're a little taller than them, and physics take over. Yeah, it's just a different thing. So you can dominate people you shouldn't be able to dominate if you're bigger. It's one of the few sports where it's that much. It's like basketball and hockey are where height can really make a huge difference in a lot of things here.
And also with basketball and football, your feet have so much grip, and there's so much.
Yes,
your legs can create so much for you. Yeah. Where in hockey, if you don't have fucking balance and you're on
done.
slippery shit,
you're screwed.
It's over.
That's why I hate when people say, because we'll talk about him, he turns into a goon in hockey. People get mad and they're like, goons, these guys they're not skilled and they should take those guys out of the game. Have you ever tried to get punched in the face on ice skates and still stand up and then deliver another punch back? Good fucking luck, because I can't do that. No. Most people can't do that. That's a skill.
I can barely get the skating part.
Yeah. You see people get punched repeatedly and they're on their feet on ice skates. You're like, wow, that's incredible to me. So he was also, though, he could skate, he could score when he was a kid. He was a big kid that did well. His mother, Regina, said, quote, he could play, but something went wrong. He started using nothing but his fists. After a while, I didn't recognize my kid. I didn't raise him that way. So his parents were actually angry at him.
Heartbroken.
It's so funny. They were like,
a monster.
That's what they thought. They would yell at him. We'll talk about it later. His dad would call him up after games and yell at him for fighting.
Wow.
It's like, that's what my job is, dude. Like,
they told me to.
They pay me just to do that.
My coach said, do this.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go in. That's my job.
You like that you don't have a mortgage?
But it was embarrassing to the family to do that. In 1971, April 18th to be exact, 1971, his brother Dan is born, and Dan will end up being a longtime NHL player.
Really?
As well, yeah. So it's, Dan Kordic. He plays for Philly for a long time. Okay. Yeah. Now, his father, John's father, wanted him to go to the University of Alberta. That was what he That was what he wanted.
For hockey.
No.
Or just to go.
No, just to go. He wanted him to go to college, whatever. His sister Tony played for Canada's 1984 U.S. Olympic women's basketball team.
Really?
So this is an athletic family. Yeah. And it's the other thing too is I keep hearing it pronounced Kordic and Kordic and Kordic and Kordic and Kordic that was more toward the heritage, but then I hear other people call him Kordic, so that's why I'm calling him Kordic. Okay. And if you know him as Kordic, I apologize. I've heard it multiple times from multiple different hockey announcers, so I'm just going with the easiest one for me to say right now. We're calling him John. So he's about 6'2", 210. He's a big strapping kid, and his father wants him to go to college. Play hockey if you want, but do it in college. Right. Be a college graduate like your sister. Look at her. Yeah. Look, she's got a medal. Look at
doing
that.
Things.
That's respectable. Yeah. You're an Olympian. Right. What's more respectable than that?
Her
if you're
name
an
is
athlete?
known around the fucking world.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So 81-82 though he goes into the juniors, or kind of a pre-juniors team. It's the Edmonton Pats, kind of like the Regina Pats. Right. Same type of thing here. This is 81-82. He's 16 years old.
Really?
This is what they play in these leagues up there when they're so young.
It's semi-professional league, basically.
Yeah. I know you're not going to high school. This is awesome. This isn't a school league.
I can't imagine.
Hockey and soccer, they just do that. It's strange.
Being embraced for anything
at that age to feel like, look, you're good at this. We're gonna encourage you.
Jesus,
imagine that. So I was just never good at it. I'm sure my parents would have encouraged me if I was good at anything. I didn't have any abilities or skills. I'm sure you'll think of something.
I was really good at getting the grease out from underneath my fingernails after an oil change. Is there anything for that? Is there any way to make money that way?
That's not bad.
I mean, I could go do it for other people, I suppose.
That's good.
A manicurist, but that's all I've got.
I was really good at rolling blunts. I don't know how that's a marketable talent. I was good at it, though. Yeah. I could roll giant ones, and I could roll like 3 together and make a fucking... literally, I was like an artist with that shit. So outside of that, I didn't really have a lot of talent.
Is there like a subway for rolling blunts to be a blunt artist?
Tough. I don't think so. I was pretty good at playground basketball, which also is not an ability that, you elbow someone in the face. Right. It's not really a talent. So at 16 here, he plays there. This is the Alberta Midget Hockey League there. He says, he plays 48 games here. So it has 23 goals and 41 assists, which is a shitload in 64 points in 48 games is fantastic. And 178 penalty minutes.
Jesus.
So he's fighting a shitload too on top of that. So he's scoring and fighting, which is not usually normally the thing. The fighters are there to protect the scorers. The scorer doesn't score and turn around and punch somebody. That defeat, then he's out of the game for a while. That's the problem.
We need you.
Yeah. So he says, quote, when I got in junior, I got in a fight, and he was supposed to be a really tough guy. And this was a guy named Troy Loney, who is a future Penguins player, Pittsburgh Penguins. Quote, I never thought I was fighting out of fear, but I got a bad temper, eh? By the way, he throws the A in there. Of
course
I got a bad temper, eh? So I beat him. I didn't find him so tough. I won a few fights after that, and Montreal drafted me because I was tough. But by my second year, I didn't have to fight as much because I got my respect, so I had a chance to play my game and work on my hockey. That's not true, by the way. No, he didn't. He even complains that that's all he is, and you'll see that's him. That's him he's a very roller coaster emotionally kind of guy.
He had a happy day
That's him on a good day. He was at the top of the loop-de-loop on that one and about to come down. It didn't go well after that.
Okay.
82-83, he is with the Portland Winterhawks.
Okay.
That sounds,
Portland, Maine, or Portland?
I think Oregon. Oregon, yes, the Western Hockey League, I believe. So he's with the Portland Winterhawks. He plays 72 games, 3 goals, 22 assists. So that's gone down because he has 235 penalty minutes.
Jesus,
so he is absolutely
went from 170 to 230.
235. He went from 178 to 235,
that's
and
so much.
His goals went from 23 to 3. So I think they had a role for him, is what we're saying here.
There's a strategy.
Yeah, I guess his father was really, really against his fighting. He was just, his father's, everybody, the players said it would really affect John too. Like his father didn't approve of him, and it would make him sad. Like he was upset by it. He wanted his father to approve of him.
All I'm doing is trying to approve. I'm fucking succeeding.
Yeah.
And you're pissed about it.
And you're pissed about it because you're not doing what I wanted you to do the way you want to do it.
Right.
But also at this time, John, This is when John starts to party.
Oh, boy.
John likes to party.
Yeah.
Let's just say here's about 17, 18. This is when he starts doing coke.
Yeah.
John loves cocaine. Oh, God, does he love? He loves cocaine. Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Cocaine is it's his baby. We'll just say that. I feel like he would like cradle it at night and hold it and pet it and go, I love you, cocaine.
I mean,
sweet cocaine.
It's so nice that he found it so early.
So early. And he just loved it.
He knew exactly what he wanted in life.
You know what else he loved?
What is that?
At least in the next couple of years.
Booze. Yeah.
Because hockey players love booze.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, though. He wasn't an alcoholic, as we'll find out.
No?
But he liked his booze. Also, we'll get very into steroids, which is a dangerous thing. Yeah, when you have a steroid-ridden, cocaine, fucking
fueled,
jacked,
right?
Drunken lunatic. This is not.
This is great.
This is a scary. We're setting the table for quite the story here, is what we're saying.
I see muscles popping and bloodshot eyes and like
sweat
veins coming out of
from
his
the forehead.
head.
Yeah. Fists clenched at all times.
So good.
Where is he? I'll punch him. I'll just punch him. There's nobody here, John.
Down.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'll fucking punch him.
John Nicholas, chill out, man.
Dude. Bro.
What would your dad say?
Fuck, man. We're Canadian. We're supposed to be nice.
This is amazing.
Jesus. So, in 1983, though, the Portland Winterhawks win the Memorial Cup, which is the championship of that hockey league. And this is when he starts using steroids as well. So he's like 17. That's a good time to start using steroids and cocaine.
Well,
your brain's not developing still or anything. I'm sure that won't affect it. I'm sure everything will be fine.
Your balls.
Did you know anyone in high school who used steroids?
Oh, yeah.
I did. I knew a bunch of kids in high school. Some that were football players.
All of them were football players.
And some that were just thug motherfuckers that were just like, literally, that were like, yo,
I could do that.
I'm jacked now. I'll fuck you up. That's all it was. It was just to fucking be intimidating and shit. Like, tons of people were doing steroids. It was very common.
I knew 4 or 5 dudes that were doing it that were playing baseball.
Okay,
and
all these guys
the rest
were
of them were football guys.
Yeah, and it was fucking
very
weird.
All the quote unquote thugs. There was Red Dog was one, and he was like 5'2". They called him Lowrider for cheese. The man, he was so. All these guys, the quote unquote gangsters at my school, they were all little Mexican guys that were legit little. Like our football coach was 5'7", and he called them Lowrider.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
We had black guys. They were bigger. And we had everybody normal.
I mean, North Phoenix, there were very few black guys. They all played football or basketball.
Oh.
And then the real quote-unquote thug guys were the Mexican guys. And then...
in New York, the white guys were as much thugs as anybody. Everybody was the same. Everybody was the same
wasn't the
back
thing
home.
Here. It's very strange.
Yeah. Back home, everyone was the same. Yeah. It was like you were either like into school or you were into sports or you were into the street shit. And that was that. And, that was it. Everybody was the same. Black, white, Puerto Rican, didn't fucking matter.
I mean, the white kids did everything. They played basketball and ran with the gangster kids and then also were into school and stuff. But the majority of the Mexican guys didn't fuck with sports. They were just little guys that were, were thugs. No, it was our soccer team. Man, in North Phoenix, it was just a bunch of pampered-ass white kids and then Sean McDonald, who played in the NFL for like, 7 years, and I don't know, didn't go great for him. But in high school, he was amazing.
Jesus Christ.
Lucky fuck.
So one of the coaches for the Winterhawks said, quote, or one of the players, I'm sorry, said, quote, about steroids, quote, he told me he was using them to get meaner and tougher. Yeah. Because he knew what he had to do if he wanted to go to the NHL. And now the Winterhawks president, remember his name for the very end of the show, Winterhawks president Brian Shaw denies that, because there's another player that says that, Kordic used it and everybody kind of knew he was using it. And Brian Shaw, the president, says that's absolutely not true. No one knew anything. And I don't even think he was on it when he was here. I think that guy's making it up. Shaw says, quote, at no time when he was here did John Kordic do drugs. Now, there's no drug testing. Nothing like that.
So they can't even prove that.
They never asked him, I'm sure. Yeah. They were just like, I didn't see any powder on his nose, and he didn't forget to take the needle out of his ass as he walked out of the fucking stall. So, not on drugs.
I never smelt anything on his breath, to my knowledge.
Well, he says, we know our players are not on steroids because we've had drug testing since 1981. Drug testing, which is not. There's a lot. People say these leagues say drug testing. There is a varying
that's
degrees
a broad
of difference.
Spectrum.
Between like an Olympic standard drug test and some like Canadian League drug test,
and then the one you get at like CVS
probation
or Walgreens,
officer, the one you get for your kid or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, there's a lot of different drug tests here. And
I'm taking those.
And especially back then, there was a lot of ways to mask for drug tests. Like, I mean, these bodybuilders knew how to beat these drug tests for steroids for fucking years, and then they would come up with a way to find the masking agents. They come up with new masking agents. Going on today, still the NFL is in existence, so people are taking HGH. You think those guys aren't 85%? Not even 95% of them. I'm not even kidding.
If you think that 100% of them are clean, you live in a fucking fantasy world.
If you think 10% of them are clean, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your fucking mind.
Don't understand what the human body is capable of.
Look at an NFL player without a shirt off.
Yeah. That's not a human.
That's it.
Right.
Look at a 1975 NFL player with a shirt. Don't go, well, they work out, nutrition's better. No.
It's not that much better.
It's not.
Jesus.
That's a different species of people, of human. It's because you're on fucking human growth hormones. Right. That's just the way it is. It's fine.
Or something.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a shit either.
Those guys probably need that shit to get through the season. And the amount of cortisone and Toradol and shit they pump these guys up with, they don't give a fuck about their health. So what's the difference about steroids? Just because that's got a bad public image.
Right. You're not even supposed to put a specific. You're only supposed to get to a certain level of cortisone in a year period.
Yeah.
Do you think they're really just giving them that much? They've got to be giving them more. There's no fucking way those guys can put up with those hits.
All the guys, once they retire, they laugh and they say you're only supposed to get Toradol every so often.
Right.
I got that shit every game. Every game they shot me up with that shit. They go, they're totally against protocol. It's just the league wouldn't run unless you put these guys together with tape and drugs and push them out there.
Right.
Otherwise, after week one, after training camp, the first preseason game would be the only game with healthy players, and everybody the rest of the time it would just be varying degrees of an infirmary. It's ridiculous.
The IR would be so long.
Yeah, look at football. That's not a sustainable thing.
16 weeks of that shit? Are you out of your fucking mind?
They're practicing, too. That's the other part. So it's like constant. It's silly. So, a former captain of the team, Jeff Crawford, says that not only was Kordic on steroids, but he wasn't the only player in the league on steroids. The management's crazy if they think that he was the only one. This guy says, Crawford, I was aware of others using steroids, and I'm sure Portland was aware of Kordic's steroid use. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. Yeah. If you got an 18-year-old kid who's jacked with muscle and super aggressive, you might go, hey, I think we should have a talk with that guy. He put on 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months. That's probably not natural.
It's a lot of Monster Energy drink he's pushing down, if that's all he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy, man. The 80s, especially, too. This time period, steroids there was like in the USFL, there was coaches that told players straight up, if you're not on steroids, you're not on my fucking team. I don't want you if you're not on steroids.
I got a number for a guy for you.
That means you're not trying, because you don't want to be as big and as strong and as fast as you can be.
Why are you not committed to this?
Why the fuck would I want you? Right. That's literally what the policies were of some of these teams. It's crazy. So anyway, 1983 NHL draft comes around. Round one, I know we don't know many hockey players, but there's a few I recognize in here. Pat LaFontaine, Steve Yzerman, know who he is. Guys like that. Cam Neely, know who he is. And we've talked about this draft before. Guys like that. Round 4, though, is where we pick up with John here. By the way, first guy picked in round 4, Frank Pietragallo. Pietragallo spells his name Pietra. Is the first 6 letters.
Right.
You know, few people spell it, and then a G. Yeah. But there's an N in there, so whatever.
So
but I was
the Angelo at the end to make it a lot easier.
I was very excited about this guy, though. We're probably related. I'm not even fucking kidding. Because the people have messed up the spelling. Frank,
Oh, he's so
clearly
Italian.
An Italian guy. He's from Canada, but he played in Pittsburgh. I feel like we're related in some way, shape, or form.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
There's
Pietragallos in Pittsburgh.
No kidding.
There's some lawyer named Pietragallo in Pittsburgh.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah, that you run him down.
He must hate me.
Who's this fucking asshole?
He'd Google himself. Right. Like, I feel pretty good. And then he's like, who is this dickhead? He didn't go to law school, and the first 9 pages are all this asshole.
Why do so many people in Illinois hate me?
Shit. Yeah. Or Indiana, or one of the two.
Whatever the fuck.
Jesus Christ. So
Why is the Midwest railing
What's
on
going
me?
on? So finally, 70...
What did he do so horribly that they could fucking spell his last name?
We all know how that goes. We all know that when people are mad at you, they learn how to spell.
It's the only time.
They magically learn how to spell. That's like, what was that? W-H-I-S.
Never forget it ever again.
Otherwise,
fucking dick.
Normally they're like, so-and-so tagging the wrong people you like. Some other guy that always gets tagged.
I just want to inbox him and go, I'm so sorry, man.
Sorry, dude. My bad. So, finally, 78th overall, 4th round, Montreal selects John from Portland here. And, yes, so he's going to be a Montreal Canadian later on. But he's with Portland for the 83-84 season because he stayed with those junior teams for a while till they bring you to their... And it used to be different in the 80s.
Really?
Hockey has a real complicated, weird system of minors.
Do they do it very similar to majors where they keep an eye on you to see if you're going to fit what they need you for?
Yeah, but it's like in the minors, like let's say in baseball, if you were playing for some like semi-pro team somewhere when you're 20 years old or something, and then you got drafted by the majors, you got drafted by a team, you wouldn't keep playing with the semi-pro team. They'd send you to their minor league team. Sure. Whereas here, he just stays with the junior team. It's like they own your rights now, and whenever they want to exercise them, I believe they can exercise them, but then you stay down there.
Do they pay you to be... they've got to,
yeah,
right?
They get paid, these guys. Yeah, it's a professional thing. It's just they don't get paid a lot at all.
Oh, sure.
It's not anything, whatever. I'm sure they probably provide them housing and shit like that.
I hope so.
So he was a left winger at this point, but for the Winterhawks, he wanted to be a left winger coming up, but then as he ended up being a good defenseman here for the Winterhawks, and he ends up being traded, not by Montreal, but by the minor league teams. You can get passed around to Seattle there, where he ends up on the WHL All-Star team. Okay. And he also ends up with 227 penalty minutes there. So he is just fucking fighting a lot. He's getting called out for it too. Like later on, Don Cherry, who's the kind of Mr. Hockey in Canada guy, he called him, kind of picked on him a little bit on a Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, called him a goon. And he says that he likes rough, aggressive play, but he says that he doesn't like it when a guy's only role is to fight. He says, quote, "It's demeaning for a human being to sit on a bench for most of a game and be thrown out there only to fight like a mad dog." That's what he said of goons. Then he said of Kordic, quote, "He always wanted to play the game of hockey, but everywhere he went, he was just considered a goon." And so that's the role that he has here. Now, Seattle, here I found their team. They were originally known as the Kamloops Chiefs.
Yeesh. That's no good.
Kamloops in the Western Canada Hockey League. And then they were moved to Seattle and called the Seattle Breakers after that. And he plays there. He plays for Seattle. He also plays on the Sherbrooke Canadians, that's Montreal's minor league team. Okay. That's when they're looking at him. A little bit more there. Plays 46 games with Seattle and 154 penalty minutes he ends up with there. Shit. That's a lot. But finally, 85-86, he comes up to Montreal and he gets a little taste of the end of that season. They bring him up in, I believe, April here. So, and it's his ability to fight is what they want. They don't want him to score. He's 20 years old at this point. He's not even 20 he's 22, I think. He's a kid. He's a young kid. I mean, he's such a young guy. The team, the coach of the team said, quote, "He did an excellent job. He beat the best fighters in the league." So that was his job here. John says about fighting, quote, "It's nothing I love doing. I like to hit and take the body, but I don't like fighting. I know what people are thinking right now, that I'm just a goon. I heard Hockey Night in Canada commenter Dick Irvin say, well, that's why he's out there, and that doesn't make me feel good. No. I'm sure my parents heard that on TV, and they'll be upset too. I'm not worried so much about myself, more about my parents. I just wish they'd understand that this is how I'm getting my chance. They're European, and hockey is new to them." Which is, I don't know why that's great. Yeah. Which hockey's huge in Europe now, but I guess in the 50s it really wasn't, apparently, or at least in Yugoslavia. Right. They were cleaning up from World War II probably still. So he says,
still broken glass in the streets.
Yeah, escaping, of a Soviet bloc country. John says, quote, "I know why I'm here. I just turned 21 and I'll pay my dues, but I wouldn't mind playing a little more. I know it's not going to happen this year. They're going with the guys who got them here." So yeah, he's he's not thrilled about just being a fighter. That's the thing. He's just not. He wants his dad to be proud of him.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for him,
of course.
too. It's this
is the pinnacle of Canadian success in essence. I mean, that's their fucking national pastime. That's everything to them. It's like playing in the major. This is like baseball.
This is like playing baseball in 1955.
Right.
This is like,
as an immigrant,
at
as your
time.
parents are fucking immigrants. This isn't even
you're fucking Joe DiMaggio, basically.
Right.
Yeah. An immigrant, a guy, parents, kids, kid of immigrants.
And you've got a job in the big league of it. Yeah. And they need you for a specific reason. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And Montreal's good this year, as we'll talk about here. He was just a way to, but I mean, they needed him because, you have to protect people in hockey. That's why if you don't know hockey, we find our ignorance charming, please. Yeah. But I do know this much about hockey. You have a goon. Yeah. So when someone fucks with your scorer and tries to take cheap shots at him, you send that guy out there to beat the shit out of that person and, discourage them from doing that again. That's the way it works. It's a protector for your score. Wayne Gretzky would have been broken in 9 pieces if he didn't have Marty McSorley and this one and that one, fucking people watching his back the whole time. He would have been killed. It's just the way it is.
He's out there to tell that kid, don't say that shit, and then you punch him. That's what he is.
Exactly what
He's
it is.
The grown-up 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the equivalent of like an American moving to, South America, and then being a king in soccer. That would be fucking insane.
It'd be weird, and your parents are like, I don't get it.
I hate that you do that. All the fucking running.
Just kicking all shit around everywhere.
You're going to ruin your lungs.
Your heart only has so many pumps in it. That's what the problem is.
You're accelerating it. Why would you do this?
You're wasting your pumps, kid. That's what you got to tell kids.
I get it. You're good at it, but you're wasting your pumps.
Quit wasting your pumps. So he ended up hitting a guy in the face with a stick here, and he was kind of sent there to do that. A guy on his team was hit with a stick, and then he said that the coach told me just to go out there. He didn't tell me anything, but I don't need to be led to water.
You know what to do.
He knows what to do. He says, quote, I gave McPhee a shove and said, keep your stick down. He gave me a slash and said, let's go. Later, when I was in the penalty box, he came over to me again and told me we weren't finished yet and called me a few 4-letter words. And I thought, geez, I don't know why he'd want to go on with it. I thought either this guy's very intense or he's forgetting what's going on. He said, I didn't want to have to remind him again. I didn't want to have to do it. I didn't want to have to do it in the first time, but he slashed Carbo, and Carbo's one of our main players. It wasn't fun, but maybe it got our guys a little excited. So, and they said once they got out there, he basically beat the shit out of this guy.
Oh boy!
And and the Charbonneau guy says, "quote I was just scared I broke my jaw. I'm not happy John did it, but it's good to know people care for you." That's the guy who on his team who he was protecting.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, he beat the shit out of people, but it's nice to be protected. He says, quote, guys on this team come up to me all the time and say, what you do, well, I'd never be able to do your job. They appreciate what I do, and it makes me feel wanted.
Yeah.
So you're doing the dirty work.
Right.
You're the guy diving in the first row for a rebound. I mean, it's a dirty job, and
you punch
gets
somebody,
everyone else their glory.
You punch somebody in the face, you're going to get punched too, and that fucking hurts. And if you can't take it right,
ice is hard.
That's the thing about it.
It's generally frozen usually. So,
but if you can take that punch and then deliver another one, you're my fucking hero because I don't want to do it.
Incredible.
That sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible. Jesus Christ, man.
And when your face is frozen, it hurts more. So much more.
Oh my God, when you're cold anyway,
God.
You're being punched by cold fists.
Like getting your ear flicked in the cold weather.
I've been punched in the cold. It's not fun.
It's not.
You're like, ow, that hurt twice as bad, dick. Jesus Christ. He says, I've talked to Chris Nealon or whatever, who's Montreal's other enforcer. He's different shifts enforcer. He said, I was sitting down on the bench once and I was discouraged not playing. I asked him, Chris, did you start out this way? And he'd tell me that he used to just sit on the bench, never knowing when he was going to play. He told me to keep my head up. He's probably not aware of it, but he really keeps my spirits up because no one else in the world would know how I feel. So he had a guy telling him that this is how you get into the league. And it makes sense. It's every other. If you were a scorer, you'd start out on a lower line and work your way in. It's the same thing. It's just when your only job is go out there and punch that guy, then sit in the penalty box is kind of like, oh, great, that's my job.
It's discouraging.
You don't feel like a hockey player. Right. Like if you were a comedian on a lineup and they go, oh, no, everyone else is doing 10. Right. Everyone else is doing like 10, 15. We just want you to go out there and just say, hey, how's everybody doing? Is there any bachelorette parties? Give it up for the troops and then run back in the green room. That's the equivalent of that.
So you want me to do a joke? No.
Just a couple of things.
Make them crazy.
Cheap applause.
Yeah.
Just a couple. Something that would really just make you feel like you're not a comedian.
Give it up for your headliner.
And then run back in there. Then get off the stage. That's the equivalent of what that is. You're like, I don't want to do that.
That's like telling Barry Bonds to get in there and, just get over the plate so that you're beamed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go catch a beanball and then take your first base.
So,
that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I want to play too.
I want to play, but you can't. You're not playing, Jimmy. You're out.
Where are my weed smokers?
Yeah. Where are my weed smokers at? Oh, that was the worst. I used to hate that. Whenever anybody would ask, where am I so-and-so at a comic, I just put my head down and go, oh, God.
Are we here?
Fuck. He's out of ideas. If you want to tell them that you smoke weed and you enjoy it and you have jokes about it, just fucking tell them. You don't have to fucking ask everybody and get their permission. What are you doing?
Well, you got a cheap joke loaded like that's some shitty weed, you fucking idiot.
Fucking idiot. So annoying. Oh,
You're
man.
wasting our time.
Yeah, so the Nilon guy, he said that he understood because he said it was the same thing. Like he understood like in the minor leagues, his parents would drive hours to come see him play a minor league game just to watch him come in for 3 minutes and get thrown out. You know what I mean? It was like that kind of sucks. Yeah. So it makes sense. He says, quote, this is the Nealon guy. I understand it from the viewpoint that's how I came into the league, how I got my chance to play hockey. I know it's what got me here, and you shouldn't forget what brought your game out. I fight, but I don't like it. Some guys in this league like it. I don't. I know anybody looking at my penalty minutes, which was 274 in that season, this guy, he said, would have a hard time believing that, but I don't like to fight. I do it because it's part of my job. And then he says about Kordic, quote, about John, quote, I like John. I don't think it's an enviable position for anybody. When you have to do it, sometimes it's lonely. He definitely has the tools to develop into a much better hockey player. He's big and strong. He can shoot the puck and he can skate okay. He's a natural defenseman. If he works on all those things, he can improve. But the way I look at it, he can get that chance by the physical part of his game. It has to be there. It's not fun, but if a guy like John wants to make it, he shrugged. That was that. So, and he does. He wants to do that. He does. He says that later on, though, he says that in the season he's not liking this. He says, quote, this is John talking, quote, if I have to keep doing this, I'll probably quit and go back to school. I wouldn't mind being a police officer or a fireman. It's something different every day there.
Oh, my God.
So that's how much he doesn't want to do this anymore.
What a crazy statement.
Yeah. I want to give up my dream that I've had since I was 9, and then I'm, a national... This is what every kid wants to do in hockey, but I'll just go be a fireman. Which, I mean, that's a fine job.
It's fine.
Policeman
I'm going to go risk life and limb rather than be cheered every goddamn night.
Yeah, it's just an odd thing. You can be nothing wrong with being a policeman or a fireman, but there's very few policemen or firemen that if you said to them, hey, you want to go play for the Montreal Canadiens and they're Canadian, or you want to go, patrol for speeders, I think they would say, well, fuck, where's the uniform? Get those skates on me. I mean, come on.
Announcing the starting lineup and have everybody cheer.
It's just any job. Right. It's not their job. No. It's any job. That's what people strive for. You're on TV. You're playing a game for lots of money and adulation. It's ridiculous. Awesome. It's great. It sounds wonderful. So, he says, this is the Nealon guy again talking, quote, his parents are against it, but he's a big boy and he's got to be able to say, what do you want? What do I want to do? I tell him all the time, you got to put things in perspective and say, do I want to be a hockey player? Do I want to be in the league for 10 years or do I want to start another career? That's where it got to the point with him where he actually considered maybe I don't want to make it, even though I've made it. But in his first game, he's fighting already. In his first shift on the ice as a pro, he fights. He says, quote, against Kevin McClellan on my first pro shift. I'm from Edmonton. I've seen him fight a lot of times. My friends work for the Oilers. One's a stick boy. They told Kevin McClellan, Kordic's coming to town and he's going to fight you. And they tell me Kevin McClellan wants to fight you. So the fight was set up before the game.
Yeah. Sounds like everybody else got this shit going.
Yeah, it was a preset fight, but we didn't know it. They were even building it up on the radio in Edmonton.
Wow.
So this is like, there's going to be a big fight at the game.
What the fuck is this? And neither of these guys have anything to do with this.
There's going to be a rumble. Like,
I heard you wanted to fight me, eh?
Yeah.
I heard you wanted to fight me,
eh?
Well, better get on with it.
Let's do it. We'll go to Tim Hortons afterwards and we'll get it over with. Okay. And they just do it.
Coffee's on the loser.
All right. Hey. Hey, no bear claws, though, pal, because those get expensive. All right.
You look like you can eat a few.
Oh, look at you. You're a big guy. He said, oh, man. Jesus Christ. I guess at one point there was one fighting time. One time he was fighting. It was at that time. He said that his dad actually didn't mind it because it was a big thing set up. He said, quote, my dad liked it. That one time he did. My sister and brother were cheering. He says that he was smiling, telling the story. He was all happy about it. He says, if I'm going to fight, I want to win. He says, have I ever lost? No, I've never had a busted nose or anything like that. I've heard people say here and there that a fight I was in was pretty even. Every lopsided fight I've ever been in, though, I've totally won. I can't say I've ever been beat like that or heard anybody say I was. If you find one, I'd like to talk to him. He's a crazy motherfucker.
He is.
He's a big, coked out dude on steroids.
Never had his nose busted.
Yeah, I'm getting punched in the face multiple times. And we'll talk about, too, he ends up being roommates with a boxer who, teaches him better punching skills, too.
No.
So, yeah.
Jesus.
He's actually taking it seriously in terms of how can I fight better?
Right.
Not just I'll go fight. How can I really do the most damage here?
And then this boxer, what kind of lunatic is that to be like, look, you're really good at this. I'm gonna make you fucking lethal.
I can make you, punch people and they fall on ice and crack their heads open. Now, I am looking at their roster for the Canadians here for 85-86. I know Chris Chelios. Yeah. I've heard of him. Who else here?
Did Chelios also play for the Flames, I think?
The Red Wings, I want to say.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I want to say the Red Wings. I see
red,
on.
though.
Yeah, I want to say Detroit. Who else do we have? Claude Lemieux, who's Mario's brother there. We know who he is. Just because this is a perfect little brother name is Claude. No, even not little, just the perfect brother name is Claude.
Yeah, just the you don't matter name.
The perfect less talented brother name. Claude was a great player, too. He played forever, but he's not Mario fucking Lemieux. That's the problem, yeah.
And after our last hockey episode, I found out Mario Lemieux's son plays for ASU's hockey team.
That's amazing.
They have a hockey team, and his son plays.
Jesus Christ. No, this guy, Claude Lemieux, is the Dom DiMaggio of hockey. He really is.
For sure.
Dom DiMaggio was an all-star.
Right.
Did you know that?
No.
An all-star.
But it doesn't matter.
A really good player, but...
Guess who he wasn't?
He ain't fucking Joe. He looked like Joe with glasses, too, which was really weird. So it looked like he was like the Clark Kent Joe. It was fucking strange. But great player, totally overshadowed by his brother. Just,
poor fuck.
No one cares. Same thing here. And Patrick Waugh, the goalie, who's the future, one of the greatest goalies ever here. The Avalanche. And
everywhere else.
Yeah,
he played for 3-4 teams before them, I think.
Because he was on Colorado.
Yeah. I think he played for the Stars, too.
Quebec and Colorado when they moved to Colorado, I think.
Is that what happened? Is that who went to Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado was the Nordiques.
All right.
Absolutely. Okay. That I do remember. Now, he does get sent down during the season, too, back down to the minors. Okay, we talk about sports all the time. Guys get sent up and sent down on a regular basis. It's a normal thing. Yeah. And it's part of the thing, and you take the lump with it. Right. He emotionally just reacts so... Everything is, I might just forget it then. I just might be done.
I would be the same way.
He's that guy. It's really hard, but you can't be that way as an athlete. You have to be steady or else you're going to lose your mind.
Keep your fucking head in the game.
That's what you have to do. He said about it, quote, I don't feel like going to Sherbrooke, which is the minors there. I don't feel like going to Sherbrooke. I'm going to do what's best for myself, not what's best for the team. I paid my dues in the the minors last year. So he's pissed. He's like, I thought I was up for good, and I'm not up for good, and he's not okay about it. He plays 5 games with Montreal that year, 53 penalty minutes in 5 games, not bad. 68 games with Sherbrooke, 238 penalty minutes.
There you go.
So, yeah.
That's our guy.
Not bad. Montreal finishes 40-33-7 that year, and they go to the playoffs. They beat Boston 3-0. They have a 7-game series with the Hartford Whalers, who don't exist anymore. Then they beat the Rangers 4-1 and go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Calgary Flames.
Really?
Absolutely. And this was a weird time in hockey because this was right after the Islanders had their dynasty, because they won, 4 in a row right before this. And then I want to say Gretzky and Edmonton ended that. And then for a year, Gretzky and Edmonton are out, and it was like Calgary and Montreal. And then Edmonton came back with Gretzky and Messier, and they were good for a while. Why I remember this, I have no fucking idea, because I don't know shit about hockey.
I don't remember any of this.
I don't know. I
just remember the Flames being good for a minute, then they flamed out, and then they were good again. And then I don't think they're good anymore.
I don't know now. Now we don't know.
I know the Kings are every couple of years, my Twitter feed is just scrambled with comics that are so jacked about the Kings doing great.
Yeah, because
who gives a fuck?
You didn't even know where they played before that. What are you talking about? You didn't
stop it.
You get excited when the Ducks do well too. Stupid.
You're from Dallas. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not even from
hockey.
LA. Why do you give a shit?
I don't get that.
Fucking assholes.
That makes no sense. Caring about the Kings.
Right. Why? Because you had a callback that you didn't get the audition for? You know
I have a terrible apartment I share with 3 other people here, so that means I like the hockey team.
There's something that puts a smile on my face.
Jesus
Keeps
Christ.
me from fucking ending it all.
That's the only sport that comes in on the antenna on the TV. That's why. The local station that plays them. Everything else
do okay, and it keeps me from going and walking down the 101.
I need cable to see good sports. That's the problem. Basketball's on cable.
Right.
So, they go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Calgary Flames, and they win the series 4-1, and Montreal wins the Stanley Cup.
All right.
So, he's a rookie, and he's a champion already. Stanley Cup champion. Kid, young, rookie, roided up, coke dangling from his nose. Grace.
As fuck.
This is grace, my friends, I would say. It doesn't get any more grace than that. He said that at one point, this is great for him, but also the fighting thing is getting to him. At one point, the coach recalled him crying in the locker room while talking on the phone.
What?
And he said, quote, I told him, John, why are you crying? We won the game. You should be happy. And John said, quote, John would say, quote, my dad is giving me grief. He doesn't want me to fight. So he's crying. Yeah. He said his dad never accepted his fighting. But the fans did. That's the thing. In Montreal, every fan base loves the Goon's the most popular, unless they have, a Mario Lemieux or a Gretzky. The Goon is the...
Hell yeah.
Even if in terms of just cheers, the Goon gets a loud cheer. People want to see that.
Badass.
Makes it badass. Also, it's fun to watch. Yeah. It's just, you're watching this game, and then all of a sudden, hey, there's a boxing match going on in the corner. There's a bare-fisted boxing match. Just a surprise. And they're just punching each other. Right. Like, all right, this is something. And then you go right back to skating around and shooting the puck. It's this graceful thing.
It really is pretty,
so
especially
weird.
When you're watching it live, because you're watching the puck go back and forth, and it's starting to get tedious and
everybody
boring.
stands up and looks over another direction.
And then everybody's up, and you're like, what? Get out of the way. I'm trying to watch. Oh, they're not even shooting the puck anymore. What is going on over there?
Punching each other.
Oh, my God, there's clothes on the ice.
I love it. It's the greatest. It's so much fucking
gloves
fun.
And sticks everywhere.
Sticks and gloves. And
two guys with a hold of each other's shirts.
It looks like a car accident happened, and there's like a car seats over there, and there's a sippy cup is laying over here. You're like, hope that kid's okay.
When did this even start? How long has this been going on?
Yeah, a while, apparently. I like to. They take a couple shots and they go around like measuring each other up for shots, which is so much fun to watch because it's like not a wild fight. It's like, right there, I'll hit you in the fucking there too, you son of a bitch. Like it's very much.
It's very specific. It's
not like a bar fight. It's fucking hilarious. Or a boxing match. It's different.
It's a very sober bar fight.
It's what it is. Yeah, sober bar fight. Hey, everybody, hold on. No, it's like both guys are super drunk. Like, wait, let's hold each other up. Wait. It's like we're on
you
ice.
Can't sit. I can't sit
I
either.
feel like I'm on ice skates. Hold me up. Okay, here. There. How's that? Oh, okay.
God damn it, that hurt.
If I didn't have both hands in your shirt, I fell down. it's gonna fall. So, yeah,
this floor is slippery.
It's very slippery. So after this, he would fight the Chans with Kordic,
Chans with fans
from the top of the arena, Jimmy.
All right.
Kordic.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, he becomes a fan favorite. They give him a 2-year contract because they want him to fight. But he's doing coke and steroids and all this type of shit. He's also drinking heavily, staying out all night, partying in bars. There's a really good, by the way, a bunch of this information came from a really good New York Times article. I give them credit for that. So, yeah, he's heavy drinking, doing all that type of shit. 86, 87, he comes into camp, and the coach described it as being disturbed at what he saw when he arrived at camp. He said, quote, "I couldn't believe it." He said, "How could you bulk yourself up the way you did? He looked like Mr. Universe. I got phone calls that he was on steroids, and people were asking me to look after him." He came in so big that everyone was like, "Jesus Christ. I mean, come on, bro. That's ridiculous." You know, like, dude.
Obviously, that's not real.
I mean, yeah, you can't just put on just 30 pounds of muscle in an off season. That's not normal, you know? So
we just saw you 6 weeks ago.
And yeah, the hockey season is forever.
It is.
It ends in June, and then it
starts again in July.
Preseason starts again, or training camps in July. They have like 3 weeks off, these guys. It's insane. It's just forever. So he's noticeably bulky and a little bit weird. And the problem here too is that's okay in hockey. Yeah. It's all right. That's the thing.
They don't care.
Not only they don't care, listen to this. The NHL has suspended players for cocaine use back then. Right. They didn't test, but if you went to rehab voluntarily, they'd suspend you.
Wow.
That was their policy back then. They didn't test, but if you went and said, "I have a problem, I need to go to rehab," you'd be suspended for your drug use.
If you can handle it, you're fine.
Yes. That's the crazy shit.
You become a
responsible person who wants to fix it.
Right.
You got to go.
When you're non-functioning,
suspended.
You're the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Right.
At this point, the NHL did not, this is the 80s now, steroids weren't banned federally till I want to say 91, okay, like distribution, and that's the whole Vince McMahon trial and all that type of shit. But it did not ban the use of steroids that were legally acquired in the 80s. So if you could just get a doctor to write you a prescription for steroids, which every athlete on earth could have gotten in 1986, the NHL had no problem with you being on steroids.
How about that?
None. So you don't hear about this shit. You hear about all the steroids that ruined football. Football was at least saying we don't want our people to be on steroids. The NHL, on the other hand, said, and this is the league spokesman, Gary Meager, in the 80s, quote, "We don't have a policy against steroids. It's not an illegal drug. But if steroids will create tragedies, then the league has an obligation to take a look at the issue." That's where they were in 1987.
Right.
We don't know anything about them, but I mean, if they're bad, we'll take a look at. Everyone else knew by then, except for it didn't get to Canada. The information, it takes a while to flow up there or something. Right. What the fuck, man?
I don't know, you guys. Did you see that Terminator? That's a damn good movie.
Yeah, I get you're a little slow up there, but come on. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? Just totally fine. I mean, if they got a prescription, who are we to say anything? Even wrestling was pretending like they were against steroids at this point. Everybody was. This is crazy.
Was Brian Bosworth in the NFL yet?
No. He was in college at this point on a lot of steroids. A shitload of steroids. Everybody was. That's what I mean. Everyone knew at this point what was going on, but they were like, weird.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
And these were like blocks of human, too.
Oh,
they weren't even like, cut. They were just swollen.
This is fucking Deca. This is testosterone.
Just enormous.
Jamming it into their fucking, just getting size. That's why like the wrestlers were so bloated.
Right.
There's so much water in there. They're bloated. They go out drink beer and steroids, and that's what these guys are doing.
Look like that a bicep or a basketball in their bicep.
Yeah.
Their arms were so fucking big.
They were just jacking to get size. Just be big and look like a spectacle.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, be a spectacle at the airport.
Right.
That's what they always say. That's the rule of wrestling.
Really?
Is someone, you can tell if someone's a star. This is the old school. They've been saying this forever. Do they stand out at the airport? That's the test they always say. If they blend in at the airport, they're not a star.
Ain't nobody.
No, I mean, like, Ric Flair's not a huge, imposing guy, but when Ric Flair walks through the airport, everybody turns.
Who the fuck is that?
Even if they don't know who he is, they go, who the fuck is that guy?
Right.
He's somebody, obviously. That's what they're saying.
All right.
Or, whoa, what a spectacle. Holy shit, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Or like Hulk Hogan was a head turner in an airport. A 6'7" guy with blonde hair and spandex and a tank top and, fucking the skin of a hot dog and tan to shit.
Big red do-rag with fucking tassels hanging behind him.
Everyone's going, whoa, look
what
at that.
The fuck is that?
You want to see him fight. You don't want to see you fight. You know what I mean? That's the point.
Yeah.
So
I've got a new goal. I want to be a fucking spectacle.
You want to be a spectacle
at O'Hare.
You want to when we go on the road? You want people to just turn and look at you?
Who is that?
Who is that fucking guy? Man, he looks dangerous.
Who is that tiny strange man?
Jesus Christ! No, his other players and a roommate of John's, and John told a lot of people this, that during this time, not only did the league turn a blind eye to steroids, they turned a blind eye to everything. Okay. They didn't give a fuck. If you were playing, you're fine, is the way they worked on it. He said, this is a quote from his old roommate, quote, John said a coach walked into a hotel room where a couple of players were doing drugs, and the coach said, I didn't see that, and turned around and walked out the door.
Oh my God.
That was Montreal. That was Montreal.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
your cock out of that unwilling
your cock out of that
girl.
Young boy.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that.
What a fucking stance.
That's odd. The weird part is that is the statement of every one of Michael Jackson's house employees as well.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that. He went in there with 5 kids. I didn't see that. I didn't see anything.
I wasn't counting people.
No, I didn't. I don't know. I mean, could have happened. Could have been looking at a kid's butthole for a half hour. I have no idea. Did you watch the documentary? That's what he was doing.
I did.
That's it. Imagine being...
No, I don't want to imagine that.
Okay, this is horrible.
So fucking crazy.
There's no way to joke about this, and obviously you've been through...
It's the fucking worst thing
What
ever.
you went through was worse than what those kids happened to those kids. Allegedly.
Right.
But just to have Michael Jackson tell, as an adult, picture this, not a child.
No.
You're in the room with Michael Jackson.
25-year-old man.
Just a guy. You right now, 38 years old with a beard. You're sitting in a room with Michael Jackson. He goes, I want to look at your butthole when I touch myself. That's the funniest fucking thing I would never stop laughing.
I want you on all fours, and I want you to look at that Peter Pan cutout and spread them.
I want to really see it sparkle.
What a thing. What a thing.
How would you not? I would still be laughing. Not if it happened when I was a child, obviously, but if I was an adult in that situation, I would still be laughing. And if someone said, why are you laughing? I'd go, oh, God. I can't catch my breath to tell you what I heard. But when it's to a child, obviously, it's way worse. It's horrific. Horrific.
It's the worst thing you could do.
Awful behavior. So,
I want to stare at you. What a fucking thing.
Told you that right now. Just walked in the room and went, Jimmie, I want to see your butthole. Will you turn around?
Oh, my God.
Make it shine like a star for me.
I'd probably have to get it bleached for him at this point, though. I'm sure he wouldn't give a shit about it today. I don't know what it looks like back there, but I've seen porn. I imagine it's a little more brown than it was when it was new.
It's not about seeing it. It's about you being embarrassed. That's what turns me on, Jimmie.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what he's into.
It's about you feeling wrong, not me feeling right.
Jermaine, get the shovel.
It's about you feeling wrong, not me feeling right.
Well, I mean, not to laugh about that, but I think
it's the vulnerability. It's the power.
That's Bill Cosby's whole thing. I think it's a power thing.
It's about you feeling wrong.
That's what it is. These fucking sick bastards.
What a thing. I think you just cracked the Da Vinci Code. That's amazing.
Oh, we did it. It only took 193 episodes, but we cracked it, Jimmie. Teamwork. This is what it is. This is what teamwork does, see?
Sex predators. It's about you feeling wrong, not me feeling right.
That's what it is, though. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
It's a fucking sickness. I feel like you can't get off on that.
No, here we are.
Otherwise, unless that's the weird back door you're taking to it, like mentally.
Very fascinating choice of words.
You know what I mean?
But that's what it is. It has
side door.
It has nothing to do. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what validates them.
No,
it's just you.
It's pain makes them. It's fucking crazy.
It's a reverse
that's
pain
sick
thing.
shit.
Yeah.
That's
fucked up.
That's as sick as it
It's
comes.
not even reverse pain. That's just general pain.
Yeah, it's sick.
Anguish mentally.
Yeah,
because the physical pain is nothing compared to that mental.
Oh well, yeah, because that lasts forever.
That's fucking ever.
Go away.
Those are raised scars on your heart.
Yeah,
those are fucked up. Those are terrible.
No, butthole scars will heal eventually.
Yeah,
but not the scars of the soul. That's the problem. That's a fact. I'm not even trying to be a fucking.
It's true.
Jerk
You've
about
seen
it.
a stab wound and how that fucking thing just welts up afterwards when it's healed.
Okay.
That's what it is on your emotions. Because your buttholes, it's all wrinkled already.
You can't.
You can't see the fissures. They go away.
Good God.
They blend in. I'm sure. I'm not a proctologist.
What you're doing with that thing on a daily basis anyway is terrible.
Sometimes I feel like I've stretched it worse.
You're pushing shit through it, and and he's like, I had Fogo de Chao last night, and
then I sat in bed and ate a wheel of cheese.
A wheel of cheese. So
I had a block of Munster because or Gouda.
Shit's coming out like a football, is what I want to tell you. Just like one big football. So,
tapered on both ends.
Good luck for me.
I like Gouda, it's Gouda because it looks like pound cake.
It does.
And it's so fucking good.
It does look like
it's like a cheese pound cake.
I love pound cake.
So rad.
My favorite thing.
I can't get enough of it.
I love
It's
it
my
so
two
much.
favorite things.
Oh, they're
Gouda
so
and
good.
pound cake.
Oh, they're so good.
Not together.
I'm telling you. Well, yeah, that would be gross. Shavings on top. Something's wrong here. So anyway, back to John and his drug use here. His future fiance said that, quote, John told me he was doing coke with another player when a coach came in. The coach didn't say anything. He just walked away. So he told everybody this. This was like not just
a story.
This is not a one-time thing here. 87, 88. He's in Montreal for 60 games. He plays, he's up there the whole time. The games that he's gone, he'll be suspended, as we'll talk about. He's got a lot of that happening. But he plays in 60 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, but 159 penalty minutes. So
certainly got a job.
That's what they want out of him, definitely. And even in the playoffs in 85, 86, when they went to the Cup, he was on the team. He played in 18 playoff games and 53 playoff minutes. So even in the playoffs, they brought him up to got out there and fight in the playoffs. Now he had a good time in Montreal as far as his career goes. He was getting a good reputation as an up and coming enforcer here. He was roommates with a guy named Michael Labonte, who was a boxing coach, and that's where he ended up learning how to throw better punches. Because why not? If that's your job, why not? Hey, how do I throw that right hand a little stiffer?
It's a French Canadian that can throw hands.
Apparently, he's a brewery worker and boxing coach. This
sounds
guy.
like a tough dude.
He's probably a tough guy. Yeah, he has a few, and he could knock you right in the mouth there. Now, Labonte says about John, for a while he was one of my best friends. Beautiful guy to have fun with. He loved laughing. So there you go.
I've never described a friend as a beautiful guy.
Beautiful guy to have fun with. It's a weird way to put it.
It is.
But he's a Canadian. Yeah. They're very nice.
They're very sweet.
They're very sweet people. Now, he says that around this time, 1988-ish, is when he started to notice some changes in John's behavior. A lot of it started with when his father, Ivan, was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, no.
So John's father is diagnosed with cancer, and everybody says he reacts very poorly to this.
Sure.
He really... what his father thinks and his father's everything, it means a lot to him. Sure. I mean, he cries because his dad is mad at him for fighting. Most people in the NHL for fighting, and their dad was like, you don't do that. You'd laugh and be like, that's my job. Right. Oh, you're crazy. That's funny.
Shit about this.
What are you doing?
Right.
You'd laugh and just blow it off. But he would cry about it. You know what I mean? So he's very close with his dad there. I guess apparently his roommate said that he started drinking even more heavily and staying out late at night and not coming home at night and shit like that. John told the newspaper later on about this period, all of a sudden you're mad at yourself that you weren't closer than you were, about his dad. I spent so much of my time doing things against his will. I took his illness really hard. So that's, everybody said this was his rapid decline here. And the Montreal Canadiens were getting sick of him because he's getting unpredictable.
Right.
He's getting a little crazy. He at one point told the coaches he didn't want to be a fighter anymore. He wanted to be a scorer from now on. And they're like, yeah, that's not why we drafted you. We have guys that do that. Right. That's what their job is. Right. And you're not that.
It's too late for you to start doing that, too.
That's the thing. Yeah, you can't do that now.
You fit in our system in a specific way.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
Yeah.
Fucking go somewhere else.
Jeff Dunham can't go out and start doing edgy fucking political humor now because he's fucking ruined himself for anything to be taken seriously by carrying a puppet around with him for 40 fucking years.
And the flip side of the coin, if Anthony Jeselnik came out with a fucking puppet, you'd throw your beers at him.
Yeah, I'd probably throw my beer at him anyway, but because he's terrible. But besides that, on top of that,
right, you just can't switch what you're supposed to do. This is what people came here to see you do.
That's the fucking thing right there. So he said that, and he said he called it from crusher to rusher to usher is what he wanted to do.
What?
I have no idea. I guess he wanted to seat people.
Okay.
He wanted to be a friendly force in the seating.
Okay.
So how about I get a job with the stadium crew and I'll just help people find their seats. How's that?
Crusher to rusher to usher.
Crusher to rusher to usher. That's like ashy to classy to... I went for, what was it? It's a biggie.
God damn it.
Ashy to nasty to classy.
I think that's what it is. Is that it?
Yeah.
It is.
Or the other way, classy to nasty.
Yeah.
But it's fucking...
Either way. It's pretty good.
You're nobody till somebody kills you,
right.
I think is the song. So anyway, yes. So, but the coaches at that point, one of them said that he was, quote, not the most skilled guy. Okay. Not going to be a scorer, basically. And, it's one of those things. He says, a friend of his says, it's difficult to keep up the tough guy image. And if you don't, people around don't want you around anymore. Uh-huh. That's what it is. And he's got to keep doing it. And his coach in Montreal said that, quote, he beat the shit out of everybody. He was the best fighter in the league. Nobody could take John. So, okay.
That's fucking awesome, though. Why wouldn't you want that?
That's good. His dad doesn't approve of it. Now it's even worse. His dad's sick. Right. He feels like he's like making his dad sicker.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's, man.
Or it feels like he gave his dad cancer by bashing these dudes' heads.
That's what it is. And his coach at this time said, quote, John tried to tell himself that he hated fighting, but he really loved to fight. Mm-hmm. He kept saying, I don't like it, but he seemed to really like it. Yeah. He said the only way for him to attract attention was to fight, and he loved the attention. Okay, but that's different. Yeah. That's like saying that, no. That's different. That's like saying that girl loves to strip.
Right.
She loves it because she likes attention, and that's the way she gets attention, by putting her vagina in people's faces. Maybe some girls that would fit.
There are a few,
but there's a lot that doesn't fit.
I'll bet the vast majority of women that's their profession would much rather do something else.
They'd much rather, be getting attention in another area while their clothes are on. Right. Maybe not. I don't know.
And a large paycheck.
And a large paycheck. Yeah. He loved the attention. After he beat up Gord Donnelly of the Nordiques before an opening face-off in Quebec in 1988, as he was walking off the ice, or as he was skating off the ice, he kissed his fist and held it up to the crowd. I never saw anyone else do that before or since.
That's awesome.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude. I like that a lot.
That's a power move.
Yeah. Imagine that.
That's a Michael Jackson butthole look. Yeah. That's perfect.
I just want to punch you. I just want to punch you right in the mouth. That's that. I fucking love that. To me, that's what hockey fans like too. Mm-hmm. Hockey fans, and it's a different breed of hockey fan a lot of times, especially back then.
Yeah.
It's a tougher. People go there to drink beer. Right. It's a tougher thing, and they like the fights, and it's just a different thing, man.
It's violence. That's what the NFL is too. It's violence,
and
that's
try to
what
pretend like it's not.
Right.
They try to play like the gracefulness of the scoring. No, people can get killed. That's why they watch.
Right.
Do people watch NASCAR? The gracefulness of the driving? No, because at some point an explosion could happen.
We could see something horrific, and we're on the edge of our seats for it.
Fucking nuts. That's why they watch boxing, because there could be a knockout.
Right.
And someone all of a sudden it's an excitement thing.
And I don't have to do it.
Yeah,
I don't even have to be a part of it. I just have to sit here.
Man, now his sister Tony though says that he did actually not like fighting and that was genuine. She says, quote, he didn't want to fight. He just knew what he had to do to keep his job. Each game he was expected to fight, and somebody like John maybe couldn't deal with all that pressure. Okay. And so that's kind of the pressure and the father and everything. He's really turning hard to drugs and things like that. Mm-hmm. Now, a former roommate of his, He says that he's not an alcoholic, though. He says, quote, John wasn't an alcoholic. He drank, yes, but only when he was doing drugs. So.
How often was he doing drugs?
That's every day.
Yeah.
So, but he's not an alcoholic.
Right.
He was only doing that for the drugs. It's like he doesn't like the attention. He doesn't like to fight. He only likes the attention. It's like, it's the same thing. It's insanity.
It's the recipe for a madman.
Yeah, and he's just doing what he wants. And a league spokesperson said, because people were taking shots at their drug policy at this point,
of course,
because I think it was, I want to say Grant Fuhr, maybe. I don't want to besmirch him if it's not him, but a player went to rehab on his own voluntarily, and they suspended him for it. And so, but they don't have like a good testing policy, and they're saying that the spokesman says it's pretty easy for you or anyone else to sit back and take shots at this policy, which is geared to prevent first-time use by making it known that there will be maximum penalties. Other leagues accept that there's going to be drug use and have policies that aren't too hard on first offenders. Our program is a maximum deterrent, and that's what I support.
Okay.
In other words, we're doing everything wrong. Everything wrong.
Absolutely.
We're telling people to hide your drug problem because if it comes out in the open, then you're in fucking trouble. Even if you say you want help on your own, then you're in trouble. But if you hide it really well, no harm, no foul.
Stay functioning, and it's not a problem.
And he said it's easy for anyone to sit back and take shots at this policy. Well, it's real fucking easy.
You make it easy.
You know what? It's super easy. It's like the easiest thing in the world to sit back. Basically, you don't give a fuck.
Right.
Unless it becomes public, and then you can act like, we don't like drugs. Look at what we punish those bad players for doing drugs. That's what it is, even though you've encouraged this fucking behavior by not giving a shit about it until they voluntarily want help. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself, NHL. Just you take the NFL with you, by the way. Jesus Christ.
You either give a shit or you don't is the thing. And if you're not going to drug test and not going to check on them and manage it, then you certainly don't give a shit.
You pretend to give a shit as long as it doesn't affect the bottom line.
There you go.
And that's it right there.
Which do you give a shit about, them or your money?
That's it. And you can't give a shit about both. You got to make a choice. And they don't. So November 7th, 88, he's worn out his welcome in Montreal. He is traded from the Canadiens with a 6th-round pick to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a guy named Russ Courtnall, who turns out to be a real good player. He was a good player at that time. He was in the league for about 5 years. He plays all the way until 1999.
Wow.
From
85?
Yeah, he came into the league in 83, 84, plays all the way till 98, 99. So, very good player
16, 17 years?
Yeah, 744 career points.
Jesus.
A good player, like a real good player. 297 goals, decent guy. The Toronto fans were pissed at this trade. They did not want some enforcer for a guy they really liked and who was a good player. Not a popular trade among the players or the fans or anything like that. Now, his year with the Maple Leafs, he plays in 46 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 185 penalty minutes, though.
Oh, boy.
So he gets that done, no problem. But his personality's out of control at this point. Yeah. It's out of control. He's getting in fights in the locker room with teammates now.
No.
So he can say he doesn't like to fight all he wants, but he can't control it.
Personal time.
Probably because you're on steroids and coke, both of which make you a little jumpy. Both of which, those are both aggression drugs.
Right.
And then when you mix booze in, which is like takes away your interlocutor that stops you from doing crazy aggressive things, you're a fucking menace. You're a walking lunatic. Someone needs to, put a bong hit in this guy's face to calm him down a little bit.
At minimum, a leash.
So, something. I don't know if you could hold him back. Christ almighty. So, he slapped a guy named Alan Bester, who's a goalie who's 5'7".
Oh, Jesus.
So he's slapping around the goalie of the team,
guy.
Goalies aren't really big fighters usually either. No. They hang out in the goal. So that year, he does have later on here, he has so many penalty minutes here. He broke a stick over a guy named Keith Acton's head, which is interesting. Broke his nose with that.
Oh, he hit him in the fucking face.
Hit him across the head, and it went down, and
wow,
broke a stick over his head, which is,
my God.
That's
dangerous.
Yeah, man,
those are hard.
The fucking weapon.
Yeah,
it's a weapon.
Yeah.
If you do that, like I can't remember the guy. Oh, was it Brashear that got hit in the head? Who the hell was it that McSorley hit him in the head with a stick, knocked him out? He fucking fell and hit his head on the ice.
Is that the?
It was the late 90s,
was that the
99,
guy that went
2000.
Did they tried to like bring up on charges?
Yeah,
for attempted
that's
murder?
happened a few times on ice things,
Jesus.
which is weird. But he does that. He's suspended for 10 games for the stick breaking incident here. The Maple Leafs at this time would have him stay in detox centers, and they never said publicly for what, though. They would just kind of keep it under the radar and not say it was a drug thing, because if it's a booze thing, that's fine. Right. You're supposed to booze it as a hockey player, so they don't mind that. You could be the biggest alcoholic in the world. They'll go, hey, get yourself to AA there, buddy, and you're fine. But if it's coke, fuck you. Maximum deterrent, motherfucker. Jesus Christ.
They put him in those places. Like, yes. Like there's no hotel rooms tonight, so we're just going to put you in this place?
Yeah, you're going to detox for the night. They even moved his mother to Toronto for a few months to live with him to keep an eye on him.
Wow.
Here, your mom's going to keep an eye on you. Maybe that'll help. Another guy said, quote, I would have to babysit John on the road. He was a funny guy with a great sense of humor, but he would wear you out. He had chronic money problems, and his lifestyle was self-destructive. You just felt used by him. That's what he's become now. The guy who's borrowing money and got drugs problems and
scumbag.
And he's making $150,000 a year in the late 80s, which is real good money in the late 80s. It's like, about $300,000 a year now, upper 200s. That's damn fine money.
Pretty easy to go through that and blow, though.
With blow, I mean, geez, blow, it's easy to go through anything. You can just go through an unlimited amount of money with cocaine, especially in the the 80s. It was expensive. So 1989, finally, John's father, Ivan, dies.
I was just about to ask.
And, this is not good for John. This is, the controls are off, basically, at this point. Now he's got nothing to feel bad about, and he's just going to be a mess from here on out. A friend of his said, quote, the best way I can put it is that after his father died, John had no support system, which makes sense. One of his fiancés said, because he had different ones at different times, said, quote, John was so shy he couldn't even go shopping without someone being there. So this is the kind of guy he is. He's very shy, very dependent on his parents, very things like that. But then he's also this crazy fighter guy that goes out there.
Everyone knows who he is.
Everyone knows who he is, and he's known as this big tough guy, and he's got this image he needs to uphold. So he's got to take steroids, he's got to do coke to feel like I can do anything and run through a wall, and that's what it is.
What was your first experience with cancer?
With cancer?
Yeah.
Both my grandfathers.
Do you remember which age?
I was 10.
Okay, so right around this age then, right around now.
Yeah,
in the story. I mean, in 89.
It was in 90. My one grandfather died, and the next grandfather died.
And when you watched that, how fucking miserable!
Oh, it was awful. Couldn't do anything about it.
A kid across the street from me, his dad had leukemia, and he died. Dude, so fast.
Yeah.
He got diagnosed. It seemed like he got diagnosed, and then I woke up in the morning and he was burying his dad.
Yeah.
And I remember watching him, though. I say that, but I saw him deteriorate so quick, and that is the most horrific thing I'd ever watched at that age too. And I didn't even understand what the hell leukemia was.
Yeah.
Today I know what it is, but then I didn't understand what it was until he told me that it was a form of cancer.
Yeah.
It is a horrible thing to watch, and for that to be his father, the guy that he wanted the approval of, and now he's gone, it's about to go
it's
real bad.
It's really, it's got so bad his teammates gave him a nickname.
Oh no.
It was Sniffy.
Oh, what?
Sniffy.
So he's out doing that much coke.
He's got that much coke. He's always sniffing.
Oh,
everybody knew he was a cokehead.
Is that worse or better than DP?
Well, I guess it's you're doing coke voluntarily, so I guess it's better.
Yeah.
You're earning Sniffy, whereas DP, you can't help at all. That's just you. That's where your parents brought you. He was always low on money, so not only did he ask his roommates for it, he twice asked the Maple Leafs for an advance in his paycheck.
Oh my God.
How often do you hear of an athlete asking for a fucking advance in their money? That does not happen.
100 and how many shows? This is the first time.
Never heard of that before.
Never.
That's the crackiest behavior we've ever encountered before. They said he was just moodier than usual. He would just sometimes miss games, just not show up. and no permission.
You can't get an advancement on your pay and then not show up to earn it.
That's the thing. He wants. If you're on coke, you do shit like that. That's why you don't advance cokeheads money
or gamblers. Gambling comedians.
Never give
them money first.
There is no more mess of a human being than a addicted to gambling stand-up comedian. You're gonna get never more of a degenerate. Ever.
Not even trying to pun, just all bets are off.
All bets.
You will never.
No, they get off work at midnight wide awake. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to gamble a lot, especially if there's casinos where you live. Yeah. Holy shit.
On the East Coast, where the West Coast is still playing sporting events, fucking the bets are happening.
It's insanity. So, he became just a mess here. By the summer of 90, Toronto management encouraged him to enter a drug rehab program at this point, but not like trigger it with the league. Just like, hey, it's the summer. Why don't you go sneak into a rehab, and then you'll be better when you come back. Hey, what do you say? Yeah. And then we'll all be happy, and we don't need to announce this to the public or anything. We don't want them to get upset. It's a fucking mess, man. He says there's a sportscaster here who he says that he acts as an informal. His name is Jim McKenney. He's a former Maple Leaf player turned sportscaster, and he's like a kind of like an informal. In this article, they call him an informal liaison between the club and players who have substance abuse problems, because he's been there before. So he's kind of one of those guys. You can go to them and find out exactly. They're dropping the stick in the gas tank to see exactly how fucked up it is in there.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's okay. He's got a little left. So this guy says, quote, low self-esteem, then the drugs, all the drugs are linked. A guy like him will have 2 or 3 drinks, then he wants to get into the blow. Then to take the edge off of that, he has 5 or 6 drinks to get the level again, and then he's pumped up on steroids and start all over again. It sounds crazy, but to him it was a way of life.
Oh, boy.
And that's what it is. The coke and booze people, if you've ever done that, it's, I took, oh boy, too much coke. Gotta take that edge off. Okay, let me have 3 drinks. Oh boy, now I'm a little tipsy. Oh, I gotta have a little more coke to get. You can never find that right balance, but you'll try all night. That's the thing. So that's what people do. Mix steroids in there. I don't even know what the fuck, man. That's a disaster. I've seen people try to make that balance all night, and you're like, dude, you're just not going to get there. Sorry, man. Shit.
I wish I could have watched LT in the 80s doing this shit.
Oh, man, he was just on coke, though.
But he was drinking, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's drinking, but he had to be doing steroids, too.
I'm sure.
I bet it was this same fucking cocktail.
Everybody was on that cocktail in the 80s. That's the thing. All these athletes were on these cocktails. It's the Dexter Manley, it could be called.
I would have loved to be in a club and just stand in the corner and just watch.
Watch lunatics at work. So, $89.90 though. Next year he makes $122,525 to play for the Leafs. 55 games, 9 goals, which is his most in the NHL that he's ever had in a season. 4 assists, but 252 penalty minutes. So he's trying to show, hey, look at me, I can score, but you still got to go fight too. Right. That's how that works there. Apparently a rookie ended up being roomed with him at one point on the road, and this guy was like, what a fucking nut.
Yeah.
He was I guess he said his luggage was in the room, but then John just wasn't there ever. He said, quote, so I went to bed figuring there must have been a mistake. Maybe John was in another room. But at about 1 a.m., he bursts through the door yelling about something, takes the old metal key he used to have at hotels and whips it at the window, which breaks. Then he flops into bed. It's 1 a.m. You're awoken by that. Son of a bitch. Broken glass, and then he just falls over.
In the bed.
That's it. He says, quote, I spent the whole night wide awake under the covers, worried about what he might do to me. Jesus Christ. I would too.
Yeah.
Who knows? This guy could just decide he wants to teabag me at fucking 4 a.m. while I'm sleeping. I got to be ready for this shit. Holy fuck, man. So they suspend him, the Leafs do, for 2 days after he doesn't show up for a game with Detroit. Just doesn't show.
Yeah.
Just, sorry, no call, no show, like he works at a fucking McDonald's or something. He's just a a huge pain in the ass. Apparently another time here, the game before that, he called the dressing room 20 minutes after he was supposed to arrive to say he was late. Like, no, that's not okay.
We know that you're late.
Yeah, we get it.
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, fucking stupid. So June 2nd, 1990 here, John, is at Barry T's, which is a night spot here. He's hanging out with his girlfriend at the bar, doing his thing here.
Fiance.
He's fiance at this point. He then gets into an argument with her, obviously. This is he'll have another fiance. This is his first fiance that he doesn't marry. So he gets into an argument with her. So she pours a drink on his head.
Okay.
And so he knocked her onto the floor.
Okay.
Not okay.
No.
This is, in public. You can't do that. Especially, obviously not in private anywhere, but in public, if a giant guy throws his girlfriend on the floor, tends to draw a little attention.
I'd like to know where that little cliche bullshit started, though. The you're an asshole, so I'm allowed to pour a drink on your head.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It's a fucking jerk move.
That's
really dancing on the fact that I can't punch you in public.
That's what that is.
That's not cool at all.
No, that's the thing. If you're gonna, and also slapping.
Right.
Girls like to slap guys.
Right.
And it's like, I get that guys might deserve to be slapped sometimes, but they can't say that about you.
Right.
And then give you the back of their fucking hand.
Right. That
doesn't work. But if you get slapped, and but obviously
I look like a bitch and an asshole.
Well,
what did he do to deserve that? I've got to deal with this now, and I deserved that in public. We can't just fucking get back home and talk about this.
The thing is, and the physical thing is the problem. It's not an equal thing. So no one should hit anybody.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that, well, if you slap me, then I should be able to hit you.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just saying no one should slap anybody.
Right.
You don't slap him, and then he definitely shouldn't slap you.
But the fact that I'm not going to hit you is should be enough in your head that, well, maybe I shouldn't pour a drink on him also. Maybe I shouldn't just go and do all these punchable offenses and then just fucking stand there.
No, that's true. Well,
that's
especially
a fucking jerk thing
if
to
you're
do.
engaged to this guy, he's not stable.
Right.
That's my point with it. And that's, again, not an excuse of no matter what a woman does, you can't hit her. That's the thing. You can't physically do anything no matter what it is. So, and that's fine. That's how it should be.
And that's fine. Sure.
That's good. But
also, fucking, you want equality? Equality.
Well,
don't fucking pour drinks on me and I won't pour drinks on you.
We'll have a better world if nobody physically does anything to
Keep your
anybody
liquid
like
in
that.
your cup, asshole.
Yeah. Unless you're a young boy who's been called a name, then punch the other kid in the face.
There you go.
Because you can't hurt a young boy with a young fist. No. That's the thing. 2 9-year-olds punching each other, no one's getting hurt.
No.
Even if they knock their teeth, you got new ones coming in. Don't worry about it.
Show me the reports.
Loose anyway.
Show me the reports where a 9-year-old punched another 9-year-old to death.
I'm sure it happened once. The kid fell and hit his head on something. But generally,
it's not happening.
It's not going to happen. It's a safe fight. So after he knocks his girlfriend down, he is wrestled out of the club by many doormen because he's a giant lunatic on steroids and cocaine. So he leaves the club there. They throw him outside. He's out for a minute, and then he comes back in.
Oh, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. So then they said, "Hey, dude, you can't. Hey, can't do that."
Remember what we just did?
We just wrestled you outside, and he went, "You're right," and he turned around and he left voluntarily this time. But he fucked the door up on the way out. He broke the door on the way out.
What a child.
He does that. Yeah. So he is arrested. The police come and they go to arrest him on a mischief charge. Okay, police cuff him and go to put him into the police van.
Oh boy.
So they put him in the police van there. Now his friend is there, he's trying to get to his friend to tell his friend to call his lawyer.
Yeah.
So his friend said, quote, "John yelled at me through the van door. Raj is my lawyer," is what his friend said. His friend's last name is Sarbawal. I guess John tried to tell his friend the phone number of his lawyer through the thing. Hey, this is his phone number.
Boy.
But the police ordered the guy, his friend Sarbawal, away from the van. Yeah. They said, "Get away from the van." So they said that apparently the cops say that the Sarbawal guy at that point began yelling and swearing at them. The cops say, even though we'd use no obscene language.
We're very polite about it.
Yeah. Now, this guy, the Sarbahal, said he didn't become upset and start swearing until an officer used an obscenity and gave him a shoulder check to get him away from the van. He said, quote, "The officer bumped up against me and hit me in the chest. I yelled back in the same pitch voice as him." So apparently at that time, 50 bar patrons are coming out because the hockey guy just got thrown in the back of a fucking van. And the cop described the situation as, quote, potentially explosive. Which is, yes, violence could erupt at any time here. So police are trying to get this guy away because he's causing a scene and everybody's getting all irritated and all this sort of shit. So apparently that they told him, the police say they told this man 5 times to get away from the van. They said that they told him if he wanted to help Kordic to meet them at the police station. Right. If you want to help John, meet him there, and then you can call his lawyer and do all that shit. Apparently the guy wouldn't go away. Eventually they arrest this guy, the Sarbawal guy. You
can get his number right next to him in the van. That's
the thing. Here, tell you what. Well, if you want to talk to him that bad, hop in.
Gotcha.
There you go. So they handcuff him and charge him with causing a disturbance.
Yeah.
So, he told the court that he was worried about losing his trainer's license because he's a horse trainer. Oh. And he says that in order to be a trainer at the place he works, you must have a clean record.
Yeah.
So,
and that's Wonderwall that needs that?
Yeah, that's Wonderwall here. And he ends up being convicted and fined $330.
Oh.
And they did say, though, there's plenty of trainers with impaired convictions. But he has a problem. He doesn't want to get suspended from doing this because he already received a 90-day suspension from the Alberta Racing Commission in November for attempting to give a banned substance to one of his horses. So he was drugging a horse and got suspended for that. So he's like, I don't want to lose my license for the van incident.
He's a drunk guy that makes the horse run a little faster.
Yeah, he's a drunk guy. It's like, I give horse something better. And he sticks it in. There you go.
Give it a boost in the thigh.
I give it in buttocks. Show me butthole, make it shine. I touch myself while horse shows butthole.
It's not about make me feel good.
Yes. Oh,
it's to make you feel bad.
It's to make you feel bad. It's not about to make me feel good. It's about to make you feel bad. It's about how you feel. It's about to make you feel bad.
Yeah. That's basically the voice of every pedophile.
Yeah, that's pretty much sign say closed right there. It's about you feel bad. So, he is found guilty of causing a disturbance anyway here. He's a harness trainer at the Northlands racetrack.
Oh, bastard.
Jesus Christ. So, August 14th, 1990, John has court for his incident there, pushing his girlfriend down and causing a disturbance, but he does not show up for court.
Skips it.
He's just part of that.
This is bullshit.
Jesus Christ. Good court. What the fuck?
I'm sure they forgot.
They don't need me there for that, I'm sure. They have all the information.
They got bigger shit to fry anyway.
There's murderers out there. So a warrant is issued for his arrest, obviously.
I don't think that's the saying, by the way. No. Bigger shit to fry? I don't think that's the thing.
You got bigger shit to fry, pal.
That's gross.
You're doing dinner wrong, mister.
You should make a different protein.
Where are you from? I thought the polenta on the table was weird. At least nobody was frying shit up.
What are you from, Yugoslavia?
Jesus Christ, man. My God.
You're going to get the coronavirus that way.
Oh, man. Absolutely. That's how you get it. It's the only way to get it.
Finding the big shit to fry?
That's it. You got to find a big shit to fry, and then you come down with it. It's a delicacy in the certain regions. Oh, man. So John doesn't show up for court. The Maple Leaf spokesman, who he's playing for at the time, said that he knew nothing about the charge or court. And he said, all I know is it's supposed to be a camp on September 7th. Outside of that, I don't know a fucking thing about it.
I don't have any paperwork.
Don't ask me shit. I don't know anything about it. Meanwhile, they knew all about it, but I don't know nothing. So 90-91 season, he makes $150,000 for this season. This is where he's going to end up getting traded in January. He plays 3 games for Toronto, and then he's traded to Washington. Traded to the Capitals here. Now, Toronto just doesn't want him anymore, and they're ready to shit can him. They're ready to just dump him. But his agent, Howard Goritz, apparently convinced the Capitals to give him another chance and to try to trade him. Like, hey, if you drop him, you're going to fuck his whole career. Right. If you act like everything's fine and trade him, you're just pass that problem along. Right. You know, that's what we're doing.
You get rid of him, we get a different opportunity. Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy, and it's off of your plate. Right. What do you care? So he is traded with from the Leafs with Paul Fenton to the Capitals for a round 5 draft pick, which ended up being Alexei Kudashov, who's a guy who has played in a bunch of Russian teams. Played for German Dusseldorf. He played for the Moscow Dynamo.
I feel for all those foreign guys named Alexis. That's a tough name for a dude, man.
Alexei, this guy.
Alexis.
But over there, it's fine.
Yeah.
Over there, it's like John.
Here, it's no good.
No, here, it's Alexei.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's not a good one. So
that's a little white girl in Des Moines.
It is. Little Alexei. Hey, listen. Your pigtails are not straight, Alexei. Let's fix them. Now, the general manager in Washington, David Poile, he said he wanted to toughen up the Capitals, who at the time were the second least penalized team in the NHL.
Oh.
It's the only sport where they're like, we need to get more penalty in there. Like, that's every other sport. They're like, fucking fix our penalties. Here, they're like, we're a bunch of pussies. No one's getting penalized.
Sure, take a roughing.
Come on, man. So he said about, this Poile, as general manager, said about John, quote, he is what you call a legitimate tough guy. He is your loaded gun. He had limited talent, but he's a tough guy. And whether maybe that's another reason why we should look at things as we'll see anyway. Yeah. That's what he literally, a bunch of ellipses and trail offs is into that.
Essentially today's rap lyrics.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a tough guy. Legitimate ellipses.
And that's it. Ellipses. That's my song. It's just called Ellipses. The whole thing is just.
Yeah, it's gonna be you and Billie Eilish next year at the Grammys.
It'll be like who was it? The Chappelle? Yeah. Is it the Chappelle thing?
Yeah.
Turn my headphones up.
I can't hear my snare.
I can't hear my snare. Yo, turn my headphones up. That's the whole song. His hit. Turn my headphones up. Nah, for real, motherfucker, I can't hear nothing. My hearing ain't good in my right ear, man. You got to turn my headphones up.
Turn my headphones up.
I love that shit. So John says about being in Washington, quote, I was brought here for one reason, and that's what I try to do. Sure, I try to intimidate the other guys. I don't care who knows it. Intimidation is part of the game. Now he's just taking it. Fuck it. This is what I do. It is what it is, man. Now, the Capitals director of player personnel, he said him and the general manager had separate interviews with John, and they wouldn't discuss his problems, but they said they thought Kordic was good now.
Yeah.
Very silver.
Yeah.
The NHL is maybe the most silver of the leagues. Silver-haired, middle-aged white men running amok in this fucking place. Kordic says of the interview, John says, quote, he asked me everything. He wanted to know, and you can't blame him. I had to realize the other 20 teams didn't take a chance on me. I was sitting around for 7 weeks. That opens up a guy's eye to the idea that he's not wanted around the league. I'm grateful to Washington for giving me another chance. I'm not going to let them down or let my teammates down. Most of all, I won't let myself down.
Okay.
He's ready.
Yeah.
Ready to go, Jimmy.
I'm on board.
He's fucking. Coach Terry Murray said that he had to go over guidelines for Kordic on how to fit in.
Yeah.
This is what you get rules for him. And he says he's just grateful and he won't let them down. And he ends up playing 7 games with Washington. No. No goals, no assists, but 101 penalty minutes.
How do you get that many?
7 games, 9 fights, and he was suspended twice.
Wow.
He played in 7 games. Well, there's a lot. He missed a practice about 3 weeks after. That's one of the suspensions. Yeah. The team suspended him for a game, and they also acknowledged that the problem was related to alcohol and depression, but they said that they thought he'd be okay.
Oh,
It's like they just were like, you're fine. Yeah, get out there and punch somebody. It'll make you feel better. So apparently he said that when he was late, he said that he had moved into a new apartment and a phone wasn't installed yet for a couple days.
Right.
And so, he said, the communication with him is tough because he's, I don't know.
See, what had happened was,
the one coach said, I don't know where he is. I don't know why he isn't here, and I don't know where he's at, is what he said. I don't know anything, whatever. So they said they were aware of his behavior, but they were, they were hoping it would be fine. The general manager, Poile, said, quote, it hit me like a shot between the eyes. I want to take some time before deciding anything or doing anything else. I need that time, which is why there'll be no update until the club returns next week. Yeah. So, we don't know what to do with him. Everyone's asking, what are you going to do with Kordic? He just showed up. John shows up, fucks up immediately. Are you just going to get rid of him because it's just a part of his pattern or what?
Hit me like a shot between the eyes.
So he ends up.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, he's so surprised.
What, fucking murdered you?
He was surprised that this guy didn't show up. Really? Were you that shocked?
Is that shocking? A shot between the eyes?
Yeah, that's shocking. Now that's a surprise. They send him, this is how the kind of dark days of this in sports, they send him to a clinic for rehab for 8 days. 8 days.
Yeah.
Should be good now, right?
Real.
You're good now,
We're
pal.
dedicated to
slap him on the ass and send him back out on the ice.
That's a little over a week.
Oh, that's 8 days. The doctor who it's fucking Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Literally just Hanukkah.
Yeah.
The doctor who treated him told him that this is amazing. This doctor told the team, the Capitals, think about this, okay? What's the first thing, like, when someone has a major drug problem, the first thing they're taken away from is, like, work shit, stuff that does that, especially if it's, like, the road or, like, right away. Like, get yourself healthy. You can't do both. Anything. Like, I know in all the cooking shows, they always say, like, Gordon Ramsay will always say if a chef has, like, a real drug problem or an alcohol problem, he can't be in the kitchen.
No.
He's got to be out of the kitchen while he figures that out. Because that's what is part of his thing.
It's trigger, right?
Yeah. So the doctor here, though, tells the Capitals that he thinks that John's recovery would be better served if he's back with the team.
That's a guy that can't deal.
If he's got a bunch of pressure on him and, he's back in the situation that caused this in the first place, he'll probably be better off. So,
or I can't fix him.
Yeah, well, I think it was basically, that's what the Capitals, that's the diagnosis they wanted.
Yeah.
They sent him there and they said, you got a week to fix this. Probably. They said, the general manager said, he told us all in front of John, me, the coaches and the players, that John's comfort zone was in the arena. We all knew it was a gamble. I knew, the coaches knew, the players knew, and John knew. He said that the doctor said it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
This is not a mathematical equation.
And that's not even great.
That's bad odds.
I would say those odds because, it's either failure or success.
Yeah.
That's 50-50.
That's 50-50. Thanks for your help, Doc.
Glad you went to college for that.
You really worked a miracle here, Doc. Thank you. So basically, if we just take him and pretend it didn't happen, then it might work out or it might not. Wow, you're brilliant. I'm going to refer everyone to you.
We got the same chances as you've got? Is that what you're telling us?
50-50 shot. And the team said they believed in second chances. And they said that John agreed to, try harder, and they said they thought it would work.
Yeah.
The general manager here, Poyle, says it was a patch to get through the year, which is really what it was. The GM here is very honest about the fact that this was not a great thing to do. It's so fucking weird. One of the guys here said, one of his teammates, at first the guys were iffy on whether we should have gotten him, but he's done his job adequately, and the guys came around. As a teammate, we liked him, and he's still our teammate. So that's what they're saying. And he also said, same guy, quote, he provided a lot of enthusiasm in the dressing room. A lot of guys on this team are real quiet. He was always talking and having fun. He talks on the ice and in practice. He knew exactly what his job is and doesn't gripe about it or the ice time. So they're saying he's just great. Wow. They said, quote, the team, they and the team worried about, this is what John says, they as a team worried about me as a person, John the human being, and not John the hockey player. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's what he would want here, but they really didn't. No. They just sent him back to the play more. So after he returns on the ice, he makes an obscene gesture to the crowd in New Jersey.
Okay.
He gives the crowd the finger, and the NHL suspends him for a game for that.
No.
So, yeah.
You can't do that in New Jersey? That's just waving.
That's what I mean. We said it's in New Jersey. Good morning.
Right.
Go fuck yourself. That's good morning.
Good morning.
You want cream in that coffee. So
this is great.
So that's a 1-game suspension, and right after that, he's back into drugs, relapse from 1-game suspension, and he goes AWOL from the team.
Gone.
Disappears.
Yeah.
To this point, they said the Capitals end up finally finding him, and they end up offering to pay to send him to rehab.
Really?
Now they didn't have to at this point. They could have just cut him.
Yeah.
He'll never play for them again, but he's gonna pay for them they're gonna pay for him to get rehab.
Yeah.
Here, the Poyle, the general manager, says, quote, John wanted to play hockey more than anything in the world. He said it was his last chance. He said, and the Capitals wanted to trust him there. He said, Poyle called it, he said, this isn't a crash diet, it's a serious illness. It's he needs more time to rehab.
Right.
The general manager he said he had 2 relapses, basically, that we just discussed. He says, quote, he had a lot of problems, whether they be people problems, communication problems, or off-ice problems. John is finished for the year, is what the coach says. He has a big problem and needs help, long-term professional help. The important thing as far as John is concerned is that he gets his life back in order. Right now, hockey is just secondary to that. And then Poyle said, quote, it's very unrealistic to think that Kordic will play again this year. He has a very big problem, and we want to get him help. We want to help John Kordic, and we not even think about him playing hockey again until he gets his personal life straightened out.
Okay.
And John says at this point, he talks to the press, and this is sad. He says, quote, I think my career as a hockey player is just about finished. I don't want to say anything else about it right now.
He chose drugs.
That's what he said. He's just like, I think I'm done.
Wow.
This is fucking crazy. So, Montreal, July 1991. He's living in an apartment in Montreal, and there's rioting going on outside, and he thinks it's better than watching TV.
Well, yeah.
There's race riots happening in the streets, and he thinks it's fucking great.
But it's Canadian race riots. I'm sure it was adorable.
Actually, no.
No? It wasn't like water gun fights?
Let me read it to you.
Okay.
Boy. Neighbors hissed and hollered Friday afternoon at a group of 5 black men who were escorted from their home by police. Damned N-word, but they said it. Go back to Haiti, yelled a man who leaned out his kitchen window with his mother.
What?
All they ever did was play their music and speak some bamboo language.
Whoa!
I wish I'd have been here yesterday to come down myself and beat the shit out of them.
You can't say that.
That's why there's a riot. This is what causes riots. So,
this is like, is this Alabama or is
this is
Canada?
Montreal fucking all.
The bamboo language.
Apparently,
go back to Haiti, James.
Dude, it's fucking crazy.
Holy shit.
Apparently, that kids were throwing bottles at each other, and then the police arrived, and it's been going on all week. And I guess a white kid got stabbed in the knee and taken to the hospital, and a black guy's car was set on fire. And 100 people watched all this type of shit.
Those are not equal offenses, you guys. A kid getting stabbed in the knee doesn't mean light his shit on fire.
Well, here's a paragraph from the Montreal Gazette here. Quote, on Friday, the all-white residents of the rundown working-class neighborhood of Hojalaka Maison Nueve drank beer and Pepsi, spat at 2 police cruisers full of Ethiopian, Somalian, and Jamaican-born men, and gave the finger in a blatant show of bigotry.
Wow.
This is what's going on here.
In what year?
1991. July of 1991.
Welcome to Canada.
Wow. John lived there and was hanging out his window watching the whole thing. He says, quote, everybody was coming out to watch. He says, it beat staying inside to watch television.
Oh, my God.
No, it's way worse.
That was horrifying.
He said the trouble started, this is what he says, quote, when the blacks started razzing a mulatto youth for fraternizing with whites.
Another word you don't say.
Back then you could say that. That was the official designation back then. That's the only reason why.
This is unbelievable.
He said the blacks moved into a basement apartment several weeks ago and had been harassing neighbors with their, quote, loud music and late-night street dancing. I'm just shaking my head, man. I don't even know what to say about this. This is fucking crazy.
How about this? Don't ever go to New York, you guys. If you can't handle this shit, don't
go anywhere. No. Don't go outside of Canada because the white people will do the same thing.
If this is out of the norm for you, you got a lot of problems.
It sounds like this is just crazy. Then he said, quote, they would yell sexual threats at the girls. He said that, quote, white tempers flared when the blacks turned up the volume on the popular rap song, I'm Gonna Knock You Out, to taunt the whites.
A fucking LL
Cool J? Of all people?
You off?
Really? LL Cool J? Come on, man.
Jesus, you guys are going to lose your minds when you hear about Crisscross.
Oh, my God. What the
What's going to happen when Onyx comes on?
LL Cool J being played sets off a riot.
Unreal.
What is happening, man? He said that, it's ridiculous. So John is sitting watching it like it's on television, not really caring either way. crazy shit. I just didn't know that kind of thing happened in Montreal. It's one of those weird things. 91-92 here. October 4th, 91. You'd think he'd be done. Who the hell's going to take a chance? Well, one of the worst teams in the league decides to take a chance on
Jets?
him. Quebec.
Oh.
Quebec Nordiques, who won't even be in Quebec for much longer. I think 2 more years. They moved to Colorado, 3 more years. So they're really in the desperation shit heap at this point. And he's only going to play 18 games for Quebec and have 115 penalty minutes, though. Very strong penalty showing there. Now, he roomed with Brian Fogarty, who's a guy we'll end up having to talk about someday. He's a guy who had a bad alcohol problem and all life ended tragically here. Fogarty says at this point, though, quote, "Me and John were straight and sober." This is John trying to be on the straight and narrow here. He says, "We were being tested almost every other day for drugs and alcohol. There was no lying. He was straight. Then he had a little slip in January. That's when the team found out about it and they split us up." Because they put the two recovering alcoholics together to, I guess, help each other.
Right.
I don't know if that's a good. I guess that's a good idea.
If you got 2 recoverings, then one watches the other.
They're either going to be 100% great or 100%.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to pick them up from the police station because they were on the roof of the elementary school.
Right.
You know, throwing pine cones at the kids as they entered.
Right. It's like 2 Mormons together. They're either friends together because they fuck up together, or they're friends together because they keep each other in line.
One of the two, exactly. Fogarty said he had no doubt, though, that John was using steroids. He goes, that was not on that wasn't part of this. That was a separate thing. He said, quote, "It was pretty easy to know when his weight was fluctuating 10 or 15 pounds weekly."
What?
Weekly.
Each week he's 10 pounds up, 10 pounds down?
When he feels like he's not performing well, or when he feels like, because the drugs make him feel, the cocaine make him feel invincible. When he doesn't feel like that, he just does more steroids. Because that'll make him feel bigger. Quote, "He got it in his mind that he had one good year using steroids to beef up and to be tougher than everybody else. And now that he did it, the 1 year, it's almost like he can't do it without it." Because that's what he's thinking now. So the team at this point, he's such a distraction. The Nordiques team players take a vote to have him cut from the team. They vote to get rid of him.
I've never heard of that before.
No. Well, in the NFL, they'd be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
That's what they'd say. Like, this isn't your team because, you know, we own you is how they would look at it. But in hockey, they took it seriously, and the manager of the Quebec Nordiques called John, quote, "a time bomb set to explode." So he had played 19 games at that point, and they end up releasing him. The GM says, quote, "He broke the rules, and that was it for him. He came to me and cried. I said, 'Isn't that the deal we made? We gave you a chance when no one else would, and I'm glad we did. I'm still glad we did.'" So he really didn't want to get cut, but he gets cut. Now, the general manager denies that he tested positive for cocaine, but his fiance and his roommate says that he was using cocaine this whole fucking time again. Once he relapsed, once he had that one little blip, it was over. So the GM said that he would say, quote, "So often we said to him, 'Do you want to live or do you want to die?' It's strange to think back on it, but that's what we said." So he ends up finishing the season with Cape Breton, which is the Edmonton Oilers farm team. And they said that his work ethic was great, his enthusiasm was great. He's trying to catch on with the Oilers next year. That's his goal with Edmonton, and go back home and play there. So he was talking about trying out in the training camp and doing everything, and they said, "We'll see if you're healthy and everything. We'll take a look at you," and that sort of thing. He gets a new girlfriend. New girlfriend. She is believe they call her ex, but we're not sure how ex stripper, dancer.
On again, off again?
No, not his ex. She's an ex stripper.
Right. That's what I mean. She's on again, off again.
Yeah. Right. Maybe like she was a stripper until they started going out. Now he's like, "You're with me now."
Right. You can't be doing that.
I'll pay your rent or something. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Stay with me.
Or she got a job in an office and everything worked out fine. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. Finally got her degree and it all worked out.
Or she got a rapping career and still can't speak English.
Can't speak. No, on purpose. That's the annoying part. She speaks English just fine. She on purpose doesn't speak English.
Right.
Shut up. You know what the fuck we're talking about. Right. So, she's 23 years old from Quebec. She's apparently very pretty. She says that she talked about their first kiss. She said that she slept, quote, with my head on his bicep like a pillow. Oh, yeah. She said they used to lift weights together, and he even taught her the correct way to throw a punch.
Wow.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's sweet right there. So, next time we're out, if I'm arguing with someone, you come along, hit them in the ear. They'll never expect it. And then I'll kick them. It'll be a great, we could really do this. Now,
I'm really tired of women pouring drinks on my head and ruining a good suit. So
you kick their ass.
You know what you should do is just punch me in the face, and I'm going to teach you how to do it.
So let's do it here. Right. Now, so he ends up moving to Quebec City, where she lives. So he ends up spending time with her. She works La Folichon, I don't know how you say French words, which is the club she worked. It's near the Quebec airport, and it's a lot of like motels and fast food restaurants. Typical like around the airport shitty area. Now John used to come in and hang out at the bar here. A bartender there said, quote, John would come in here and sit very quietly at the bar. He looked like a loner type.
That guy.
Big guy sitting there just angrily getting drunk quietly at the bar.
At the strip club.
At the strip club bar.
Yeesh.
Yeah. And then somehow hooking up with one of the girls here. Now, Nancy, his fiance, said that his favorite TV show was The Young and the Restless. The soap opera. She said, though, that while watching it, he would taunt. There was a character who was an alcoholic and was struggling with it. He would taunt the character, and she said he would yell at the character on TV, quote, go ahead and drink it, pussy. Go ahead and drink it. He would like... Fuck. Well, because he was getting fucked up, and he knew it was like had this
shouting him down. Don't be clean, you fucking poser.
This fucking soap opera's cathartic as shit. So,
have a drink and fuck some strange.
Come on, man.
Just do it.
Just do it. So she also described sessions of cocaine use that were just off the charts and bouts of paranoia in which he would tell her that people were plotting against him.
Oh, no.
Full-blown coke. Fucking, delusion now at this point. So early June, though, he asked her to marry him. He proposes here, gives her a diamond ring and a red rose while on a horse-drawn carriage ride.
Oh.
Very nice. He told her that he wanted to have a son and to name him Ivan after his father. Okay. Very nice. And he said that he didn't want his boy to play hockey.
Oh.
That's what he said. Nancy says, quote, I swear to God, John was not mean. He's a nice guy. He was not a bad guy. He had to fight. He had no choice. Okay. So they were even, at this point, his brother is 21, and he's coming up to be in the NHL. He plays for the Philadelphia Flyers. And he said that he wanted to, he's basically, she said that he was looking at his brother. His brother's 6'5", too.
Wow.
His brother's a 6'5" defenseman.
Fuck.
And he said that Dan was showing signs of becoming the player that he always wanted to be, like a skilled guy, not just a goon. He would say, and this is, Nancy would say, quote, John would say, that little shit, I'm going to kick his ass. He thinks he's better than me. I said, he's your brother. You don't really want to fight your brother, do you? And he would finally admit that he loved his brother, but he didn't know how to show it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
A little shit. He's bigger than you.
He's bigger than you. He's his little brother always, though. But it's just, that's what I mean. He doesn't even know. Yeah. He's just so angry at everything that I'm going to kick his ass. And he's like, no, I love my brother. I just don't know how to show it. Like, that's weird.
He's
he should be proud of his brother, They said that he would go through periods of euphoria, periods of what she called black depression, violent rages, like people on coke and steroids do.
It was CTE.
And that's the thing I want to talk about here is, he's in a second, because he's doing all this shit. Yeah. Imagine being around him. Like, first of all, imagine being in his brain.
Right.
That sounds like a horrible place to be, number
ears?
one.
Jesus.
Yeah. But that's self-inflicted, most of it, so whatever. But what about her? That's your fiance? You got to deal with this, and he's now Edmonton is going to try to pick him up, and they're going to try to give him a chance at a tryout. What? He's really a fucking mess. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for John Kordic, Senior Vice President of Operations at WASH. I don't know what that is. It's in the Los Angeles, multifamily laundry systems.
Oh, Jesus.
It's in the LA area. He did go to the university. He went to Berkeley, Berkeley. So very educated guy here. And then John Kordic, President at Florida Landscape and Nursery Company in St. Augustine, Florida.
Poor fucking guy.
Poor guy. So basically what his girlfriend was saying that this, after this whole deal going through the summer of 1992, he's doing 3 to 5 grams of coke a day. So he's doing at least like an 8-ball a day, which is a lot of fucking coke to do
every
in one
day.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Include with a bunch of steroids and whatever. She said sometimes for a straight week at a time he would do this, just every day, pound it. It's fucking nuts. July 16th, 1992. Neighbors near Nancy's home call police about a disturbance. John is taken out of the house and to jail in handcuffs and charged with misdemeanor assault against Nancy.
Oh, no.
She
poured a drink on him.
No, well, I don't think so. I don't think she did much. Nancy told police it was the 3rd incident in the last couple weeks, but she didn't want to press charges before, and then here she ended up not wanting to press charges either. Again, she didn't want to press charges. Now, John told the court he would see a psychiatrist, but he didn't. Was the problem. She also said that he often cried, especially when anything would remind him of his father. He was very emotionally, like a landmine, emotionally. He would just be set off. Now, cocaine and steroids, yes. Also, this guy's been hit in the fucking head a lot.
So many times.
And it's not even, dude, like...
This is violent shots. These are punches.
These are people punching barefisted.
Right.
He's hit,
as hard as they can.
Not only that, he's a guy who checks and gets checked. So guys, you go in checking someone into the boards, a lot of times you're smashing your head. You might hit your head on the board because when you hit them, they kind of move a little and your head hits the board and that rings your fucking bell. He's had so many concussions, probably it's not even funny. His head right now has to be a disaster of how he feels. She said that he would cry, he would fight, he would flip out. Emotionally, he was just a powder keg.
He's got nothing specific.
Yeah, she said like if something reminded him of his father, she said, quote, if it happened in a bar, he would get into a fight. If it happened at home, he might scream and yell and push Nancy against a wall. She said the last time there occurred, this was when the neighbor called, was in July. She says, quote, he didn't beat me up. He grabbed me, then he punched the wall, which is
that's illegal.
That's
also.
That's a really scary thing to do.
It's right there.
It's crazy.
The next one is going on you.
That's more than threatening. That's more than anything. I want to punch you so bad, but wow, that's really not right
there.
It's not.
He's right there.
It's scary and wrong here. She said, I didn't want to go to court against him. All I wanted to do was have him out for the night. But the cops said to themselves, now we have big John Kordic. Everybody knows he has a drug problem and he's running around beating everyone up. He has to learn his lesson. So they charged him with assault, even though she didn't press charges. And he was prohibited from living with Nancy until an August 11th court hearing.
Oh my God.
So he's not even allowed to go back here. They did their own TRO on him. She didn't even have to do a restraining. I guess Canada's different probably too. She at this point, since he's got nowhere to fucking be, nowhere to stay, he spent the next 10 days with his ex-roommate floating from motel to motel.
Oh, Jesus.
The ex-roommate here said, quote, he still had a drug problem and he hated himself for it. He was always saying, I'm sorry, that's what Nancy said. He was always saying that it was because of his father. John never accepted his father's death. He said there were times that he could feel his father inside of him, especially when he was really high. Because you're high.
Oh my God.
You can feel anything you want when you're high.
Creepy fucking thought.
Yeah. Hopefully he meant in his soul, not his butthole. So... he told her, John told Nancy that he wants to have kids. She told him that he had to stop taking steroids first. She said, quote, he said he had no problem with that, but that he was 27 and there were a lot of guys in the NHL who were younger and stronger than him. He said, I have to be able to beat them up if I'm going to get my last chance.
What?
His career and life depends on whether he can beat people up or not.
And he's 27.
He's 27, man.
He's a child.
And he's like, life is over.
Oh my God.
So August 1992 here, he shows up at the Motel Maxim, which is as nice as it sounds. Not great. It's on Boulevard Hamel around 4:30 p.m. He shows up. This is like down the street from the strip club where the girlfriend worked and all that. His face is bruised up and his knuckles are bloody. He shows up. Who knows?
Fight club.
Clearly, he's been in a fight.
Don't ask questions.
He
can't tell you.
No. They said he's also out of breath. So he just got in a fight outside the motel.
He just fought Meatloaf.
And then came in, hopefully, because that guy deserves to get punched. He apparently pays the clerk with a $100 bill. Apparently had a crumpled up $100 bill.
Yeah.
Pays with that. They put him in room 205. This is a Marlene Bouchard, is her parents own the place. She's the person who's in the front desk, and sees him. She said that she knew him. He'd been there about 9 times in the previous year, but never looked like this. He always looked, like a normal person. She said, at this point, he's about 30 pounds more than his normal playing weight.
Fat.
No, roids.
Oh, he's roiding still?
He's fucking roiding. Yeah. Oh, he's getting ready for his
tryout, yeah.
Yeah, the preseason's coming up. He's getting ready to go to Edmonton and be the baddest motherfucker, in Western Canada. Now, she says of him, quote, he had a hard time breathing. I never saw anyone breathe so hard. He was leaning forward against the counter to support himself. She said she suggested maybe he should check himself into a hospital, but he said he just wanted to sleep. Mm-hmm. She said, quote, he kept hitting his chest, I'm fine.
Kickstarting it?
No, I think one of those, like you would do, like fucking Wolf of Wall Street style, stupid shit they would do. Yeah, exactly. Right. So she said because of the cuts on his hands, he was unable to sign the registration card. That's how cut up he was. She did it for him. He said, you know who I am. She also said it was like he was proud to be known. Not for this condition here. She said a taxi driver helped him up the stairs with his luggage because he had a hard time carrying it because his hands were fucked up. It was in the back of the motel. So a couple hours go by. Yeah. He's in the room hanging out. Out of nowhere, he just starts making calls to the front desk, yelling at them. Yeah. Just hostile, angry, cursing, yelling calls at the front desk. Just really for no reason. Yeah. It's like, you motherfucking bastards, how dare you? And he's just like, hang up. Like, it was really weird. They didn't know what to do. This is between 9 and 10. So they said that he was talking to people with hard words, is the way they put it. So, he was making what they called vulgar, abusive phone calls to the front desk. Yeah. Finally, about 10 p.m., they called the police. They were like, I don't know what else to do. Right. They go up to his room to see what was wrong. The staffers do before they call the police. And when they enter the room, they find him in a crazy state. They see that he has ripped a picture down from a wall. What? And in motels, it's not just a picture hanging on a nail. It's fucking bolted to the wall. So if you rip it out, you're ripping chunks of drywall out with it. That's what he did. Wow. He ripped a fucking picture off the wall. Maybe it reminded him of his dad. I'm not sure what it was, but
fucking Ansel Adams.
Goddamn bastard. Ripped it out from the wall and also had damaged some furniture. So they said, what the fuck? Yeah. He, at that point, cursed the employees, screamed at them, threatened them, and accused them of putting drugs in his luggage and traces of drugs on his money. What? They did that. Yeah. All my money I have has traces of drugs on it because you planted it there. Wow. All of you people who were in the office of the motel while I was here with my money in my pocket.
What a weirdo.
That's crazy time. That's I've been hitting the head a lot, and I'm on a lot of drugs, and I don't know where the fuck I am right now, is what that is. They ended up trying to calm him down. They said he was walking around the room, obviously agitated. He kept punching himself in the chest and the head. He was swearing. Yeah. He ripped the door off the closet, right off his hinges.
What?
Also broke a mirror and started pulling more pictures off the wall. Okay. And at that point, too, they noticed there's blood all over the bed sheets. Yeah. Like, he's a fucking disaster. Like, this is dangerous. You either lock this door and don't go back for about 48 hours, or you send in the SWAT team. One of the two there. Because there's a problem. So they called the cops. Police show up. They see him in there, and they see the size of him and his state, and they go, we're going to need some backup. Yeah. They get 7 more officers to come.
And a net.
9 officers total.
Right.
Apparently, as they come in, they left their weapons in the hallway. This is a weird Canadian tactic. They left their weapons, basically, it's like prison style. Like, if we go in there and he gets one of our weapons, we're in deep shit. Dead, right? So leave your weapons out here, which is very strange also, but now you don't have a weapon.
We'll leave these on the ground out here where a child can access them.
Hopefully they left someone out there to keep an eye on them. They're just like, they'll be cool out here. There's no kids up at 10 o'clock, right? No, it's fine. So apparently he was screaming, don't touch me, as they came in. He was loud and agitated. This is about 10:40. So finally 9 officers enter the room. One of the cops said it was very hard to control him. This is a strong guy. They finally wrestle him to the floor and shackle him. They need 2 pairs of cuffs because he's such a big guy. They tied his feet up with a rope, too. They like hog-tied him, basically. And this is crazy, man. Shackled him to a stretcher that ends up coming, okay? Because they called an ambulance because they didn't know what the fuck is wrong with him, and they think he might need an ambulance. So the ambulance goes to the hospital. This is 11:04 p.m. They get him into the ambulance. He's all shackled and tied and to everything. They go. The cops said Kordic was okay at this time. A few minutes later, he started to get major trouble with his heart. According to police, he was given a heart massage on the way to the hospital, but after he gets to the hospital, after 30 minutes, he's pronounced dead at the hospital.
What?
27 years old.
What the fuck?
Dead at the hospital. From a heart problem here, apparently. Now, there's more to this we'll get into in a second. In his hotel room, they found 40 unused syringes and 7 or 8 bottles of steroids. Some of them had been taken already. Had been a little bit had been used out of them. Now, the autopsy show he's going to die of heart and lung failure, and we'll talk about drugs here. So
God, what a terrible way to go.
This is fucking crazy, man. Somebody says here, if we take care about what witnesses just told about the way he was acting, and if we consider what the police officers think John was on the drugs, it's a fact. Yeah, we might think a lot of things: steroids, drugs, alcohol. The fact that he was wrestling pretty hard with police officers, he got tired. All of those might have resulted in his death. Now, his fiancée, Nancy here, says that he was claustrophobic, and she thinks the paranoia in the ambulance might have led to the heart attack, being cuffed and being in a box here. She said, though, in the last few weeks, she could hear his heart beating faster than normal when they were in bed together, and that he was perspiring abnormally, which could be signs of heart trouble or could be signs that he's on coke at that moment.
Right.
Those are both things here.
He's using up all his pumps.
Yes. Now, he was supposed to appear in court that Tuesday for the assault charge against Nancy here. They also found needle marks all over his arms, and all over him pretty much, which people dispute that, actually. Now, it was said what they found. Jesus, all these steroids. The league at this point, Jesus Christ, man. The league's interim president at the time, Gil Stein, promised to immediately after this to push for a clampdown on the use of steroids. Now.
Okay.
Now that it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is fucking ridiculous. They said that, quote, everyone knows that steroids can enhance the aggressiveness, the temper, the sexual drive. This is the Nordique's team doctor. For people who are already aggressive human beings, steroids can put them over the edge. He was 238 pounds of muscle at this point. The excess fluid found in his lungs during the autopsy could have been from the steroid use, they said, but the track marks on his arm are unaccounted for. His fiancée, Nancy, said, quote, John only shot the steroids into the left side of his butt. So that's not the steroids. Wow. So we don't know if he's gone to shooting coke or heroin or if we don't know.
Fuck.
For the autopsy reveals he died of lung failure related to the malfunctioning of his heart. Now, Nancy said, quote, she would say this to him, I said, John, you're killing yourself, but I didn't know it would be that true so soon. He used to say, I hate myself for hurting people. John was like a little bird who fell from the nest. She said she didn't believe that there was needle marks on his arms. No. Meanwhile, he's been gone for 10 days going from motel for motel.
You know what he's got.
If somebody introduced him to that's possible. Who knows? We don't know, though. She said she didn't, he would inject the steroids somewhere else. Also, a former roommate of his said that he was using cocaine that night. Now, they said they found no cocaine in his hotel room. And his former roommate said, quote, that's probably because he took it all.
He used it, yeah.
And we'll find out, yes. He said, this is his former roommate, the cocaine is responsible for his behavior. When he was doing cocaine, he would become very, very paranoid. When he saw those policemen there, he must have gone crazy. This is the boxing guy. Mm-hmm. He says, quote, he was a drug addict. I'm sorry, this isn't the boxing guy. This was his Quebec City roommate. He said he was a drug addict. He was addicted to cocaine, had been since he played for Montreal. He said it was a big thing with the Canadians, which is, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Grant Fuhr said, quote, what happened with Johnny is the result of having a policy like that. You would sacrifice your career trying to get help. Because guys were afraid. They didn't want to get help because that meant you were a fucking piece of shit now.
Right.
And I'm glad that he said that. Now, David Poyle, who is the general manager we talked about a lot before, he said, quote, he was a troubled young man. A lot of times he was great to be around. We tried a lot of things with John. A lot of people tried to help him. Financially, we sent him places to get help. Whatever his problem was, whether it was a disease or not, he just couldn't see the light. It's a shame. It comes as a great shock. It's a tragedy for his family. I sympathize with them. I know how difficult it is to have a son that young die, because I don't know how he would know that. Unless he must. I don't know.
But I bet his mortgage is paid.
Yeah, but, Right. So the brother, apparently Dan wasn't that close with him, but everyone said he was heartbroken about the whole thing here. Now, steroids here, obviously he wasn't the only one using steroids. Mm-hmm. The Whalers general manager, Brian Burke, said, quote, it's not a widespread problem. Why don't we have a problem? Because it's possible to be great without physical strength. Yeah, but isn't it easier to be great with physical? Suppose you have all those skills and you're really strong and fast. Isn't that better? That's why people use steroids. Right. Barry Bonds was a fucking MVP before he ever took steroids. Right. Before anyone's even accused him of taking steroids, he was a block Hall of Famer MVP.
And he wasn't big.
No, but he was a 30 home run a year guy that would steal some bases. Then you put someone with that much talent and ability, and you give him steroids. Right. Now he's hitting 75 fucking home runs because holy shit. It's crazy. So he says, this is what this Burke said. This is what a silver-haired, middle-aged asshole this guy is. He said, quote, I do think John was an aberration, but there's only one way to know. The only way you can know is to have a testing program. He doesn't think there's anybody else. He says, but he does say that he came up with a different rehab policy for the Whalers.
Oh, let's hear it.
Thank fuck. He said, if a player has a problem, we pay the full cost of treatment. We will also pay for follow-up therapy and put the player on partial salary while we do that if the league allows it. That's a big if. So, yeah, because they're going to go around the collective bargaining agreement here.
Right.
Now, funeral-wise, there's a funeral for him. The funeral has a black and white picture of him holding the Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens.
Damn it.
So, man.
The man had a ring. And he died in a fucking motel that was $100 a night.
$100 a night hotel.
Oh, my God.
It's really sad, man. Nancy was there.
Yeah.
She was identified in the program as, quote, very close friend Nancy of Quebec.
Oh, you bastard.
That's shitty. She has an engagement ring on.
Right.
Like
they live together, you fucking jerks.
Come on, man. That's
very
ridiculous.
Close friend.
Yeah, give me a fucking break. Nancy of Quebec.
Oh,
please. They were planning on
not
getting
even a
married.
Last name, just a first.
Of
Nancy.
Quebec.
Oh, boy.
Of Quebec. She's in the Bible.
Right.
Of Quebec. It's fucking ridiculous, man. The Reverend in the sermon spoke of what he called the hypocrisy in the sports world, where he said they used men like John, misled them, and discarded them. He said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. He got all religious on their asses. So there were no comments from family members. Apparently Dan was really having a problem here.
Oh, I'm sure.
Later on, he had a written statement. Lillian Kordic, one of his sisters, had a statement. Quote, when my brother was alive, he was frequently the object of media exposure, both good and bad. The difference was at times he was allowed to speak for himself. That is no more. As a family, we feel that he's gone. He should finally be left in peace. They had him at the Croatian Catholic Church there. Had his cemetery, at his funeral there, and they brought him back to Edmonton to bury him there. And, it's rough. So February 11th, 1993, his family files a lawsuit against the city.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. The lawyer here is talking, about, they didn't handle this properly. They had a person with a medical issue, and they did some things that we're going to find out about here. The coroner's inquest here, they always do one for the suspicious deaths. One cop says he really didn't do anything wrong. Kordic. He just didn't do anything. He said he didn't want to leave his room. Right. He was shouting and not wanting to leave his room. That was all. John was pacing the room and shouting, and the manager asked that he be taken out. That's why they were even there. They said he wasn't really doing anything to be, whatever. He said, we didn't know what he would do. He was aggressive, and we didn't know how he would behave outside. What would we have done once he's out there? Right. They said, that's what I mean. They had no idea. Like, when they got him outside, then what?
Right.
So, Jesus. So, they had to take him. That's why they took him in an ambulance. They said, what are they going to do? Push him outside the room, and then he's just out there?
Right.
Great. Now what?
We left the light on for him.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Now, the postmortem test shows Dr. George Miller, who's a pathologist, described as, quote, an enormous amount of cocaine in his system.
Oh, boy.
He said that he, quote, has never seen so much cocaine in a person's blood in 20 years of practice.
Right.
They said he had 10 times the amount of cocaine that should kill you in his system.
I drained him, and it was just powder. He was a giant pixie stick.
That's it. He was like a beanbag.
Right.
They said that they talked about him in this court case, about him like he was hysterical, and it was like he was living in another world. They said apparently an officer stood on his back for about 10 seconds.
Oh, you can't do that.
While they had him pinned down. Well, they put their knees in his back, on people's backs all the time. As the stretchers came in here, he was breathing, but his face was red, and he did not respond to commands. The ambulance attendant testifies that he wanted to thoroughly examine him in the room, but the police were anxious to get him out of the room. Yeah. He wanted to check him out. He said it was the only, he said that once they got into the ambulance, the attendant noticed that his face had turned blue and that he wasn't breathing and that he'd gone into cardiac arrest. So the medical director here said that they could not say that he would have survived had his conditions been different. Probably, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt to not stand on him and shit. They said that, Kordic, he was confused and paranoid, but they said that wasn't justified. They said that the bluish color of his face should have tipped them off that he was in trouble. Yeah. That's what the lawyer says. Quote, it seems John had a progressive loss of consciousness in the room and everybody missed the boat. When skin color becomes dubious, you have to act quickly. I would say when you become blue, that means you really have no air, and you haven't. You're in trouble.
It's almost over.
You're in fucking trouble. They said he suffered a pulmonary edema, usually due to fluid in the lungs, caused by partial heart failure, which was a key factor in his death. The family maintains that it's the police doing this. A hotel employee witnessed this whole thing.
Really?
Yes, Brassard is his name. He says he wonders whether the police should have been called sooner or whether something else should have been done to help him. He said that that John was having obvious breathing problems and was wheezing heavily. He could see this outside the room, and they were on top of him. The guy says, quote, I was traumatized by what happened. We blamed ourselves for not acting sooner. I thought about it over and over. I couldn't sleep. He didn't want the guy to, die. He said that this Brassard said that he constantly recalls one police officer who asked a colleague to apply more pressure to John's neck with his knee because he was moving.
Oh, you dick.
John was face down on the ground after being restrained. At one point, the same officer asked him to ease the pressure back because John's face was turning black. So they knew that in the room. This is what this witness says. Yeah. Hotel employee said that was said in the fucking room,
his face
but
is turning black.
Not told to the medical attendants. They just tossed him outside. He wondered why the police didn't transport him to the hospital earlier because his legs were fastened and his wrists were handcuffed. He said, quote, I see that scene repeatedly. I see the knee. I hear the words, stop. He's turning black. He's coming around. Give him some more pressure. So he said, he put it on him and he said, stop. He's turning black. And then he started to move. He said, put it back on there. Give him more pressure. Wow. That's how it would be. A pathologist testified that he died of a heart attack from fluid in the lungs and all that cocaine. But yeah, he was no longer moving when he was put in the ambulance and he was already blue. Yeah. They said ambulance attendants didn't take his vital signs at any point during the police action or following the pressure on his neck. At one point, they said he spit out a white liquid mixed with blood.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it wasn't normal saliva. He moved a certain way, and at the same time, the policeman put his knee back on his neck. I turned away. I just couldn't watch it. Yeah. That's what they're fucking saying. Which, I will say this, if you watch any cop show, watch Live PD, I saw a guy, they were chasing a motorcycle, he hit a car, fucking flew through the air like Superman, crumbled to the ground on the concrete, may have been hit by a car, I'm not sure. When they got to him, he was a pretzel, and they immediately put a fucking knee in his neck and jacked his hands behind his back. They could be paralyzing him for life.
That man could forget that. He could have internal bleeding, and you're just mushing bones.
They just do that. They get him. They had to search him.
Oh boy!
Once they make sure he has no weapons, then they'll get him medical attention.
Wow.
Which is like, I get that you have to protect yourself, but at the same time, you're potentially killing someone.
Right.
So it's, for riding away on your motorcycle isn't really enough of a. He wasn't riding away from a mass murder.
Right.
He just stole a motorcycle. So is that worth death?
That's wild.
So lawyers for Quebec City, for the police force there, objected to the whole thing, but the coroner said that Broussard could relate his impressions of what he saw. That's fine. The police also testified that they took his pulse, the medical attendant testified they took his pulse once he was in the ambulance, and they found that he had no heartbeat. So the ambulance attendant, though, could not explain why they thought he was still breathing as he was carried from the room on a stretcher when he was not fucking breathing.
Certainly not.
They were carrying a corpse in there. He said that he didn't examine him thoroughly because there was too many police in the motel room, and they were so agitated that they forced him to hurry. Yeah. They made this guy hurry. He should have said, "Hey, motherfuckers, this ain't your job. Right. You did your part. I'm the medical guy. Right. Unless you guys know shit about it, fuck off. Right. The fuck away from me."
I'm heartbroken right now.
This is horrible.
I feel so bad.
I'm getting some Jerry Lawless and Brian Christopher
all the way around though, from the start to the end so far. This poor fuck just never had a chance.
No, I didn't make a complete examination because of the uproar. I was never informed about the state of his health. They just said that he was agitated and had taken drugs. Yeah. That's that.
And they treated him like a piece of shit.
They treated him like a piece of shit that they just, which I mean a lot of people are, and that's why they do it. But so he's dead. Yeah. That's that. The family sued for, I think, $1.8 million. And I think there was a settlement eventually.
I hope so.
To out of court or something, because I could not find the resolution of it. So usually that means there was a settlement.
He never got his baby Ivan.
He never got his baby Ivan, and he didn't get a lot of things.
Right.
Can't get enough? Well, something very interesting came out. Yeah. Not sure how true this is, but RDS in Canada aired a documentary about him in 2016 that alleges that, like I said, alleged, right. Former Winterhawks, Portland Winterhawks owner and GM Brian Shaw, remember him, may have sexually abused John.
Oh, you dick.
So that's what that came out. We don't know if that's true.
Right.
Like I said, that came out in a documentary. Yeah. 20 years after he's dead.
He may or may not have been
we don't know.
A butthole looker.
No, we don't know. If he was abused by a GM at that point, because, I mean, he was only 16, 17 years old.
He's living the rest of his life trying to forget that shit.
Chances are he had been abused before to allow that to happen. Because a big 17-year-old kid on steroids who's never been abused before, you try to touch his butthole, he's going to snap your fucking head off and spike it on the floor. Right. That needs to be someone who's primed for that abuse at that point. So that would explain a lot of his behavior and his anger and his issues and his stuff like that. But that came out in 2016, so we don't know. Who knows? But also, if you want to read more, they have the John Kordic story, "The Fight of His Life" by Mark Zwolinski here, and I hear it's not a good book. Okay. Everybody says it's just kind of shitty and cheesy and kind of whatever. Right. So not great. I didn't read it. I went by everything else.
Somebody likes hockey.
Wasn't trustworthy. Yeah. And his sister Tony, her daughter, is a hockey player with Colgate University.
Awesome.
So I think she graduated now, but that's good for her, though.
No cavities.
It's a hockey family, no cavities. They're not a crest family, indeed. So that is John Kordic, whatever the hell it is. And what a crazy fucking story.
I feel so bad.
We had to do that because that's the opposite of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather was, came from shit, made it, kept making it, still has 400 million, ignores his problems, doesn't give a fuck. This guy engulfed by them.
Jesus.
Came from a better situation, but then just engulfed by his problems and didn't make it to the point where died broke in a shitty motel room at 27. Is like
Floyd will threaten to ruin anybody that is making money off of him.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy is just ruined by people that are making money off of him.
Mainly the
Poor
NHL.
Fucking guy.
It's brutal, man. This is one of those guys that was around when we kind of knew shit.
Yeah.
This was a guy where everybody did coke and he was winking a nod and it was under the table, and steroids were considered. I mean, who's not doing them? Jesus, you're not trying if you're not doing them. it came from that era. And if you get hit in the head, you just get back out there and you skate it off, man. That's how you get rid of that thing.
You're high paid for what?
Yeah.
Let's go.
This was the time, remember the Rudy Pochek episode where we talked about, it was like 92-ish where he would get concussions and he actually had the self-awareness to ask the doctors, repeated concussions, is this going to be bad for my brain? And they told him, no, it's fine. Once you recover, you're recovered. And then the next one's a totally separate incident. Yeah, complete bullshit. And they knew better at the time, but they lied to him. So right now it's a toss-up as to which league was scummier than the NHL or the NFL. Not sure.
It's hard.
Nowadays, I don't know enough about the NHL to know. I know the NFL's a pile of scum shit. But
all just bastards.
Yeah, here it's... Wow, it's a fucking mess. Yeah,
they're nice bastards, like Canadians.
That's the thing here. So that is that. If you like that show, very easy way to tell us about it. Get on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. It just really helps us on the business end. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. Listen to Small Town Murder if you're not, because it's getting crazier every damn week.
Right.
And you should really check out some wild murder stories of crazy panhandlery. There's guys with samurai swords and people. It's just so ridiculous. You got to check it out. Listen to Small Town Murder.
Like javelins.
Do all that. Get your tickets to live shows.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially February 15th and 16th in Indianapolis and Louisville.
Yep.
Denver and Salt Lake are sold out.
Right.
Also, March 13th and 14th in San Francisco.
San Francisco!
Oh, baby. Up at Cobb's. Cobb's is a great club.
Right.
Wonderful club in a cool area. Like, if you go there...
Right.
We're doing our shows. I think they're 10 o'clock shows. They're late shows. Both late shows. So you can go down. It's like walking distance to Fisherman's Wharf.
Right.
You go down, you can get some food,
Stay
walk
out of
around.
Chinatown, babe. That's where that
man.
That's where the coronavirus is at. It's all in China.
It's all in China, yeah.
I'm staying everything that has a Chinatown, you won't find me.
No,
there.
that's not. Jimmy's going to be staying in the Irish section of town.
I'll go to the Haitian town before I go to Chinatown.
You should. Probably good food down there.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
So come see us at those shows and check us out. And we put on a hell of a show. Even if you're a crime and sports fan, you don't really listen to Small Town Murder that much. We wreck those live shows, man. They are really funny. You'd really need to check out a live show.
Time.
If you enjoy listening to this, you will love a Small Town Murder live show. Give it a chance. It's really good shit. So check that out. It's a lot of craziness. Also, if you want to if you want to follow us on social media, very easy to do that. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and we are at Small Town Murder on Instagram there. And if you want to be a hero, so heroic that we're going to talk about you for a few minutes here. We're going to have a list of you fine people.
Yeah.
If you want to be one of our producers, very, very easy way to do that. You can just go to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, and make a one-time donation. Honestly, we can't tell you how much we appreciate everything you guys do for us. It really is ridiculous. And this show, if you might be listening this show right now, I don't know, later on they might insert ads or something, but right now it's an ad-free show.
Right.
So the only money we're making off this show is the money you guys give us.
Right.
So, you know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for making this show viable.
Yeah.
Because honestly, otherwise, I don't know what we would do.
Paid my salary.
Yeah. Thank you guys for that so much. And I need to hear them. You know what? We've talked about all this negative. I need positive.
Yeah.
Hit me with the names of the best people around, Jimmy. I need them now.
This week's executive producers are Cameron Kushwara. The Brain Damage Enthusiast Fantasy Football League wrapped up, and the winners were some other teams that I didn't write those down, to be honest with you. I'm full disclosure around here.
I like it.
Other executive producers are Karen Porciello, that Harley Davidson, the one that sounds like somebody named her Harley Davidson. They didn't name her that. That's actually her married name. So she used to be something else. Adrian Thomas, and she said go Niners, obviously, because her old man works with her.
We love her. She's great.
Tanya Volanek, and I'm rooting on him too. So
me too. They got an Italian quarterback, so I'm rooting on him. And I like Mahomes. Mahomes is great, but
it's fine.
I'm getting a guinea quarterback to win here. I want that.
I just want the Niners to win. Jordan Bennett, and then Shannon Russell, obviously. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. We can't thank you enough. Other producers this week are Mikkel Kennedy, Marianne and Jeff Aiken, Michael Haven, Haven, Logan Henneman, Becky Estes, Melissa Winkler, Meredith King, Joel Okumu, Jenny Smith, Jennifer Hanley, Taylor Seaman, That's unfortunate. Kaylee Stillions.
She's
that's
happy
her.
with it.
She's thrilled.
She's fine. We're alone.
Kaylee Stillions, and that's her maiden name. I forgot to write down her married name. Sorry, Kaylee. That's my mistake. Kelly with no last name. Julia Hardenberger. Yeah. Is that Hamburger? No, that is definitely
We'll
Harden.
go with Harden.
Harden. Peter Cantor. That's what that is. Matthew Carr. Carl Johan Larson. David Tuzolo, Doug Fay, Brooke Kale, Victoria with no last name, Ashley Rowland, Luke Benfield, Marcy or Marchie. It could be a guy. It's probably Marcy, right?
Marcy.
Right.
Marci.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Bromus. Daniel Arthurs, Matt Owens, Michelle Stevens, Alexis Westerhouse, Brittany Gore, Lori Joseph, Courtney Teeteralt, Caspa Pouncey, Kayla Beach, Courtney I said that. Alicia Campbell, Amanda McConnell, Emma Anderson, Eric Darnell, Mel Jays. Yes. Okay, refocus. I feel like I've had a bunch of cocaine. I'm trying. Jesse Pitts, Hannah Brock, Melissa Chapman, Melissa Butler, Nathan Nolte, Janine Cladd, Jennifer McIntosh, Katie Lundquist, Kelly Peterson, Maddie Garrett, Megan Boris, that's it. Jerobert Green. Is that what I wrote? Amanda Hirsch, Dustin Locke, Dwayne Rice. Sorry, Dwayne. Evan Van de Vender.
Yeah,
yep.
him too.
Christian Cobra. That's the coolest fucking name.
That's a cool name.
It's a wrestler, I think. I don't know.
I hope so. He should be if he's not. Jesus.
Or she. Christian. I don't know what it is.
Christian Cobra.
That's badass.
That's a name.
Gleanna.
Cobra.
Gleanna Tompkins.
Take your shirt off. Put these overalls on.
Brittany Francibus. What is that? Franciscus? Got it. What is happening?
We're not even close.
No, Tyler Baldwin, Lindsay Martin. Oh, the Samsonite. I got it.
There you go.
Right. Lindsay Martin, Nicole Curtis, Tater Nuts Fleming. That's legit. That's really what I wrote down.
That's beautiful.
Tyler Nussbomber. Rebecca Ward.
Not Brett Musburger.
No. Rebecca Worlds. What did I do? Woods. Okay.
You are fucking struggling this
Ariana
week.
with no last name. John McCarthy. I don't know why I wrote these so small. I don't write like this. What did I do?
Hey, what are you? It's one name per line. No matter what, you're going to squeeze extras in there. What are you doing?
Abriana Van Hoos, Montana Keeg, Luis Dominguez, TJ McCullum, Shelly Skillern, Haley Irwin, Ashley. I'm not doing this again like this. Ashley Conrad, Jeanette Salfin, Jason Ventry, Melissa Rowler, Adrian Ramey, Elise Pantino, I think, Mike Johnson. Home stretch, and I wrote this one bigger. Bobby Martin, David Carrington, Clay Thorson, who sent us an unbelievable gift. Thank you, Clay. You're a fucking hero. Gerald Fleming, Jeremiah Manchester, Michael Brett, Thomas Smith, Jamma Gilbertson, Tasha Watson, Cody Cromie, Patrick Lau, Augustine Martinez, Desiree Norman, Janice Hill, Sydney Steele, Sarah Acosta, Dina Grimes, April Moreno, Dylan Irish, Amanda Knight, L'Oreal Mitchell. That is fucking L'Oreal and Paul Mitchell marrying.
Hey.
Devin Holdsworth, Lisa Dunton donated for her mom, Ann Dunton, who passed away just like 2 months ago.
Oh, we're sorry
I'm
about
so
that.
sorry.
Thank you so much.
Keith Foster donated both ways. Thanks, Keith. Ashley Vio, Jennifer Plagey, Devin Holdsworth, Haley Garina, Gary Howard. Thank you very much, Gary. He started a podcast, too. Good for him.
Appreciate you, Gary.
John Betancourt, Jamie Knight, Douglas Cordy, Alicia Oakden, Ronnie Kumar, James LaRussa, Stephanie Mears, Lindsay Powis, Sonny Johansson, Andrea Strapulos. Andrea Calkins also. Tamika Fain Lovett. Corbin Brown. Amanda Rutherford. Kristen with no last name, Courtney Brand, Caitlin Ballantyne, Jackie Sukup, Kate Graham, Amanda Cassidy, Krista Walker, Jesse Hartman, Robin Anderson, James Martyr, Kevin Coffey, Dan Perry and Aaron Perry, right? Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Susanna Platt, Rosemond Gatt, Iron Tree Craftworks, that's Andrew Ebel, Jeff Rash, Kelly Higby, Peyton Meadows, Ben Saulnier, Douglas Porter, Reagan Shalkley, John Rogers, Autumn Uplinger, and Jude Kendall. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
And there's a guy with a kid in the fucking ICU, man.
Jesus
and
Christ.
it's brutal. But we donated to him. His GoFundMe is up on my page if you want to take a look at it. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. Go get him, Jackson. Kick its ass.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Yeah. Honestly, man, from the bottom of our cold, non-cocaine ravaged hearts, because neither of us like coke.
I don't got liquid on it.
Nah, so thank you for every damn thing you do for us. Honestly, man, you guys are the best, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Jimmie, what if they want to talk to you? How can they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. What about you?
You can find me at Jimmie P is funny. And quickly, I have to just say one thing. I don't care what the fuck you say to us. Yeah. You can say, hey, like the show. You can say, hey, hate the show. Right. You can say, you suck and you're not funny. Right. We don't give a fuck. Right. We're comedians. So comedians, people will yell, you suck at you. Right. We have thick skin when it comes to that shit. The only thing that annoys me on social media is when you couch an annoying fucking insult in the form of this is constructive. Go fuck yourself. If you have that, I will call you a cunt on Twitter and tell you to go fuck your mother every single fucking time, and then I'll block you too. You can fucking eat shit. Guess what?
You can shout it into the void.
This is show 193.
Right.
Do you think that you're going to have a fucking suggestion that we haven't thought of and fucking dismissed already? The show developed naturally. Right. This is the show.
This is how it works.
No matter what you say, we're not going to do it.
No.
I'll tell you that right now. Just because you said it on there on spite, I'll never fucking do it. And I don't know what the fuck makes you think you have say in the fucking show. Fucking Jimmie doesn't even have say in the show, and it's half his fucking show.
And I sit here.
And he sits here, and it's half his goddamn show. And I even dominate that on it. You think you're going to fucking tell me anything? No, Jimmie will do anything Jimmie wants. That's not true. But you know what I'm saying? It's fucked, man. Stop with that shit. Stop. I would like it if... No, this is the show. Right. Like it or don't. Right. That's it.
It's your choice.
It's your choice.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
I don't care.
Honestly, we don't give a fuck if you do or not, right. To be honest with you.
We love it.
We love it, and there's a lot of other people that love it. So if you don't love it, stop listening, but don't tell me what you'd like better. Eat shit. Tell Gordon Ramsay that he needs more salt. He'll kick you out of his fucking restaurant.
Do this. Go make your show.
That's the other thing.
Do
that, but don't copy this one just with your changes to it. Come up with your own idea, and then wait for people to give you constructive criticism. Right. Then you can tell them cunts and tell them to fuck off.
When you've got something scary creative, show it to me and show me how perfect it is, or I'll give you your constructive criticism.
Thank you. With that said, everybody, I think it's time to go live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles...
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.